Whoop, whoop. What's up, everybody? John Pemberthy here. Hope you're doing awesome. We are kicking off week 2 of Tube Ads Academy. I'm just going to go ahead and just make sure I've got all potential distractions turned off. I'm logging off from Facebook and all kinds of other things that may pop up notifications that would be intrusive. And I would highly suggest you do the same thing. Shut down anything that may distract you. It'd be really cool to just give me your full attention here as I take you through week 2. We've got a lot to get through. It's going to be a really, really fun time. We've got a lot to do. And yeah, so just it'd be good if you follow along as closely as you can. And I'm just closing down all these unwanted pages as well. Do me a favor, before we actually kick this off, let me know in the questions box. Just let me know if you're excited for week 2. Just give me a comment in the questions box so I can see you. And in so doing, that'll show me that you can hear me and that we're all good in that department as well. I'm just going to check that in just 1 second here then. And again, I'm just closing down unwanted pages. Get out of here. There we go. That can go, that can go. Great. All right. Okay, cool. Whoop. We are getting ready. What have we got here then? Okay, cool. So let's have a look in the questions box. Deborah's here. Derek says JP for president. Very excited, says Chase. Deborah, very excited. Mansour says yes. Blair, Chris, Christopher, Richard. Cool. I'm going to turn my screen on too to just make sure that you can see that as well. Let's just put up the first slide here. And cool. All right, I'm just going to pop that away. Nice. So and then give me a number 1. Give me a number 1 if you can see my screen as well as hearing me. Okay. Number 1 if you can see my screen as well as hearing me. That would be really helpful to know for your benefit just as much as mine. Patrick's here. Simon's here. Linda's here. Susan. Gull. Christy. Marco, Daryl, Matt, Marie, and Rick. Okay, cool. And then a ton of ones coming in. Fantastic. Right. We're actually going to dive straight into this because we do have a lot to go through. We're probably going to go for, I would expect, about 2 hours. Okay. We're probably going to go for 2 hours. Try and block out 2.5 hours if you can. And yeah, it's just going to be really, really helpful if you do that. I can't see us going more than 2.5 hours unless we have a lot of Q&A, which I'm very happy for. I've blocked out 3 hours for this call, so we're going to have plenty of time together. Yeah, and we're gonna dive straight in, and I'm going to record this in the same way as we did last week. Okay, so the best thing I can do here for you guys to be able to go through this training long term is to basically present each lesson as if I'm not talking to a live audience, right? If you were on the first week with me, please put a number 2 in the questions box. And if this is the first call that you've come on, just put a number 3, please. Okay. So number 2 in the questions box if you were on here with week 1, and number 3 if this is your first week. Okay, cool. So loads of 2s. So you all know the drill already. So we're going to do it in the same way. I'm going to go through and deliver all the training, deliver each lesson so that we can chop it up and get it in the members area for you. As some of you have asked about whether we can, how soon we're going to have the chopped up version of the recording. We're just going to work as quickly as we can. Funnily enough, my filmmaker has been off this week. So just as we did the first week, he's been away. And we want to wait till he gets back so we can do a really great recording for you all, and kind of chop them up really, really well, give intros, outros, and just make them look really good. So we're going to wait till he gets back, which is next week. So next week we'll have weeks 1 chopped up, probably week 2s as well, and then we'll just keep going from there. So and then what I'll do is once I've delivered the lessons, I'll keep checking in with you in between just to see how you're doing and interact with you. But any questions that come up, please do me a favor and hold those questions until the very end. Okay, hold the questions till the very end. And the reason for that is because if you start asking questions after lesson one, there's a good chance that that question may have been answered in lesson 2, 3, 4, or 5. So the best thing we can do is write it down, and then if as we move through the training your question is answered naturally just by the things that I'm teaching, then we're all good to go. And then finally, if we get to the end and your question absolutely hasn't been answered, then of course I will get to it at the very end, and we'll just hang out here for a little bit, right? Once I've gone through this module, we may have some things to just chat about. You may want to get some feedback from me, and in how this would specifically apply or play out to you, and then we'll go ahead and do that Q&A the whole time, okay? For as long as we need. Now we've got Aaron on the line with us as well. Aaron's not going to be involved in this week's training. You're just going to have to deal with yours truly, because this is stuff that I'm just going to need to take you through, and then Aaron's skill set is going to come in later modules. But he's here on the line with us for two reasons. One, because he'll be here for Q&A in case any questions come up that would be good for him to answer. And secondly, we've got horrible weather here in the UK, and sometimes when we have bad weather, the internet cuts out. And that's like the worst thing, because then we'd all get chucked off this webinar. So Aaron is here as a backup as well, so that if my internet cuts out, then the webinar doesn't stop, and I can jump back on as soon as the internet comes back on. So if something does happen with the internet, best thing you can do is just stay on the line and wait till I pop back on. Okay, so with that, should we get straight into it? Give me a yes in the questions box if you're ready to dive into week 2. You've got your notepad and your pen ready to go, and you're ready to dive into this. Awesome. Bunch of yeses. Fantastic. All right, Deborah, Gull, Christopher, Matt, Marco, Derek, Blaine, Richard, Chase, Patrick, Yannick, Susan, Gary, Dan, Daryl, Deborah, Ulf, David. Awesome. Very cool. David says, damn right, I'm ready. Okay, cool. So here we go. This is going to be a great little lesson, but I'm going to do the official introduction in the official lesson, so that it's recorded for you ongoingly as well. So with that, here we go. Hey everyone, it's John Pemberthy here, and welcome to Module 2 of the Tube Ads Academy training program. I'm super pleased and proud of you that you've come to Module 2. The amount of people that purchase a training like this and then they go through Module 1 and they go, there's too much work and I'm just going to ditch it, right? You guys are action takers. You're here for Module 2. That is awesome. And this module is all about the perfect landing page, right? Now, the reason why we're diving straight into this in module 2 is because the landing page is so important, and it's imperative that you get it right, and it's imperative that you understand a lot of the best practices that I'm going to be taking you through in this module before you start running ads, right? Some of you might be going through this lesson with me right now thinking, gosh, John, just get on with it. I want to learn about the ads. I want to start running some ads. I want to go into the dashboard and set up an ad. And listen, the people that do that are usually the ones that waste more time in the long run, because it doesn't work out that way, right? There's certain things we have to do in the build up to give us the best chance of success when it comes around to actually running these YouTube ads, right? So it's not just the case of purchasing a training like this and then from module 1 we go straight into the dashboard and we start running some ads. Okay, that's a good way to trip over yourself. It's a good way to make some mistakes, and it's a good way to not have the best start and best shot of getting some good results. There are a few things that we want to get perfect, and one of them is the landing page, right? The landing page is where are we sending traffic to, right? When we set up a YouTube ad, where is that traffic going? Now we need to get that page perfect. There's a few things that you've got to understand and you've got to get right to not only please Facebook and have them on your side and actually like you and prioritize you as an advertiser on their platform, but also there's some things we can do to increase conversions, right? Would you rather turn on YouTube advertising straight away, but then not be profitable and be struggling with the numbers and wasting money? Or would you rather take a little bit of time to get the landing page right, so that then when you turn on your YouTube ads, you've got a greater chance of success? Okay, it's obviously that way around, and that's the way I've designed this course. Okay, I've designed this course to take you through the process from start to finish the way that I would do it. If I'm starting a brand new campaign, this is the way I do it. This is how I go about it. This is the way that my brain thinks. And we're at the stage now where we need to be thinking about the landing page. So we're going to get straight into this. I'm pleased you're here. We're going to dive in. So I want you to think about this way, right? When you start running your YouTube advertisements, you are sending that to a specific page, right? Now, for those of you watching this lesson, there's a multitude of business models that you may have. There's a multitude of offers that you're selling. There's a multitude of sales funnels that you're using, right? Some of you might just be driving traffic from YouTube directly to a page that then sells a product and you get paid straight away, right? Others of you may be driving traffic to a page that then there's another page. So there's a button that they need to click on this one, takes them to a second page, and then you make the sale, right? Some of you may have even more pages, and some of you may have a big old funnel where there's a ton of different steps, right? Like a webinar funnel, for example. They go to the first step, registration page, then confirmation, then they need to actually attend the webinar, then there's an order page. There's all that stuff involved before you actually make the point of purchase, right? The reason I'm showing you this is because regardless of what your business model is, regardless of your sales funnel, and regardless of your sales process, every single one of you, as you go through this module with me, should only care about this page, okay? This first one, no matter what your model is, this is the page that we're going to be focusing on in this module, and this is the page that we need to get right, okay? The first page that the traffic goes to, okay? If I can be so bold, I'm not concerned with any other pages that you have in your business, because this isn't a training program about funnels, okay? I'm not going to be teaching you about building a sales funnel. What I'm teaching you is how to get outstanding results with your YouTube advertising, and this is the most important page in the process, okay? So this is the page that we're running our traffic from YouTube, okay? So one thing I do want to address, just to make sure you're on the right path, is, do you have one of these, right? Do you have a website? Do you have a static page where you're driving visitors and they're coming to a web page where you've got all kinds of things going on, and you're just praying and hoping that they click one of the buttons on that page and somehow give you some money, okay? If you have a traditional website, I don't think this is going to be the best for you, okay? I don't think this is going to be the best result, the best process, okay? You don't want to be driving traffic from your YouTube ads and sending them to one single web page with loads of things they can click on, like a contact us page, an about us page, a blog. You know, if you've got a ton of stuff on here, that's not the best way to do this. What you need is you need to be laying out the journey, the path. You need to be creating what's known as a sales process, right? So you're attracting people from the YouTube platform, you're taking them into your sales process, and then able to, you know, build a bit of a relationship with them, turn them into a lead, turn them into eventually a customer or a client, right? So that when we're going to YouTube and we're targeting, you know, that our ideal customers, we're not just taking them to a web page and having them scratching their head as to, you know, what they're supposed to do next to move forward. Okay, we have to make it really clear for them. So we're doing this, right? We're driving traffic from YouTube, and we're taking them through a series of pages that makes it very clear what they need to do next, okay? I mean, this is the same for everything. If you're doing a webinar, if you have a webinar funnel, then of course you've got a few steps involved. If you have a lead magnet funnel, then of course they're going to come to a page where they first opt in. Then there's a confirmation page of their opt-in, and then there's maybe a sales page, and then you get paid, right? If you're selling e-commerce products, still same thing, right? They're going to come to a page first where they're going to get a bit more information about the product. Then they're going to get a chance to purchase. Then they go to the order page, and then you get paid. Okay, this is the page that we're going to be focusing on in this module. Okay, and it doesn't really matter what you're doing or what your end goal or outcome is, right? It doesn't matter if you're doing anything with lead generation. So if you're doing anything that requires getting an opt-in, right? If your business and the front door to your digital business is having someone join your email list, right? Or give you their name and email address in some form, then that's lead generation, okay? Same thing applies. We're going to be focusing on the first page, which is the registration page. If you have a webinar, then we're going to be focusing on the webinar registration page. If your business is all about getting someone to request a strategy session or have a phone call with you, okay? If the first page of that is the application or the submit button to come and register their strategy session, that's the page we're focusing on here. Maybe your business is about booking an appointment, right? Or submitting an inquiry. Maybe you do e-commerce, maybe you do direct to sell. The list goes on and on and on. Every single one of you has a different business model, but the first page in the process is what we're focusing on here. Okay, so with that, hopefully that just sets up this module in terms of what we're going to be focusing on. And now that you know that, we're going to go pretty heavy into what that page should look like, feel like, sound like, and all the best practices that go into that. So let's do that right now. I'll see you in the next lesson. Okay, cool. So that was a lesson 1. I see someone says YouTube, not Facebook, right? Facebook. Did I say something wrong? Did I say Facebook rather than YouTube? Whoopsie. A few people saying yes. Whoops. Which slide did I say that for? Where did I say that? Oh, I must have just said it by mistake. Never mind. You get the idea. You get the idea. All right, cool. You said first one in the intro in the beginning. Oh no. Everyone's saying I said it in the very beginning. All right, never mind. If it was a problem, I'll go back and I'll edit that bit. And maybe it'll be okay to just leave. But either way, you guys here, you know what I'm talking about. So here we go. Let's get straight into this because you're really gonna like this. We've got a ton of stuff here that's just gonna get you fired up. So we're gonna dive straight into lesson 2. So here we go. Hey everyone, it's John Pemberthy here again, and welcome back now to lesson 2, where now that you know the page in which we're going to be focusing on, right, and that's just so important that we give a ton of attention to, we've got some really cool stuff to go in, right? In this lesson, we're going to be talking about landing page best practices, and specifically in this lesson, we're talking about for conversion, meaning what can we do to this landing page? How can we design them? What do we say on them to have the greatest chance at converting whatever the next action is, right? If it's to opt in, if it's to buy a product, if it's to schedule a call, if it's to whatever it is to buy, it really doesn't matter. Register for a webinar, right? That's a conversion, taking someone from where they are right now and going to the next step. All right, so I'm going to share with you some best practices for that. And then in the next lesson, we're going to talk about landing page best practices for compliance. What does YouTube want to see and how can we play by their rules? So that's going to be really cool and really important as well. So let's get into this one. For now, there's 2 goals that I have for you in this lesson. Okay, number 1 is give you the best shot at results from the get-go, right? If you're in a spot right now where you don't really even have a landing page in place, maybe I stirred something in you in that first lesson where you're like, yeah, I kind of do just have a website. I don't have a sales funnel, and you're going to go and do some research now on a sales funnel and how you can put one together. Well, I want to give you the best shot at getting results from at least the landing page perspective of your sales funnel, right from the get-go. And then secondly, whether you have built a landing page before or not, I want you to be able to increase the conversion rate on your landing page. So whatever you're currently experiencing right now, I want to help you increase that conversion rate. So if you are building an email list and your page converts at 10%, I want to help you get that to 20%. If your page converts at 30%, I want to help you get it to 40 or 50%. If your page converts, 1 sale out of 100, then maybe we can try and, learn some stuff from this lesson and tweak that and get that conversion rate up. Okay. There's a few things that I personally go through to make this a reality. And there's actually 11 steps. Okay. First is the headline. Second is the subheadline. The third is the bullets. 4th is a background image. 5 is video on the landing page. We're going to talk about that. 6 is logo. 7 is links at the bottom of the page. 8 is above the fold. 9 is mobile friendly. 10 is visual appearance. And 11 is loading speed. Okay. These are 11 things that I'm going to take you through in this lesson. I'm going to try and be respectful of your time and not take too long on each one. But I'm going to still make sure that you get what you need to understand and comprehend each one and what you should do moving forward. Okay, but these are the top 11 things that I believe go into a high converting landing page, especially from a lead generation perspective. If you're building email lists, if the entry point into your business is to generate a lead, then these absolutely are imperative. And if you're doing e-commerce or high ticket or some other stuff, then most of these are going to apply, and you're going to know, it's going to be obvious to you as we go through this list which ones apply to you. Okay, so let's dive straight into this. Okay, this is really important. I'll be using a couple of different examples as we go through. Here's a couple of examples of some of my registration pages. This is one of the ones that actually you may well have registered to come into this program. Okay, we've got a few different pages, but this is one that we did use. Here's one that we use for one of our webinar programs, right, where we teach people how to build an effective webinar funnel. We're going to use a couple of these examples and a few others as we go through this particular lesson. Okay, so number one, I talked about the headline. Okay, I want you to write this down. The headline is pretty much one of the most important parts of your landing page. Okay, you really need to understand this. You've got to strip the fat on your landing page, get rid of any distraction, and let the headline do the job, right? In this case, in this list of 11 steps, I haven't saved the best till last. I've actually put the most important one up front. Okay, the headline is everything. Okay, when I'm building a landing page, when I'm planning a new YouTube advertisement and I'm planning the landing page that I'm going to drive those visitors to, this is the first thing and the most important thing that I give time to. I'm trying to figure out what headline shall I put together that's going to move people into action. Okay, everything else is kind of irrelevant. Okay, the headline is so important. Think about it. If you're going to do a split test of a landing page, and for those of you that aren't familiar, a split test is essentially you're saying, well, I want to test two different pages against each other and see which one gets a better result. So I'm going to take this page and maybe change a couple of things on it and see if that increases or decreases the engagement or the effectiveness, right? Some people talk about doing a split test where you change the button from a red to a blue. Oh, and let's just see if we drive visitors to that page. Let's see if a blue button converts better than a red button. Okay, I'm not a strong believer in that at all. In fact, I'd go as far to say I believe that's a waste of time. Okay, there are far better things that you should be focusing on, and one of them is the headline. In fact, that's the main one. If you're going to split test anything, it should really just be a headline. Like, figure out what is your audience. And I'm going to teach you all this stuff later on in this module. I'm going to teach you how to write headlines and all that good stuff. So that's coming later on in this module. I'm just giving you an overview for now of the importance of the headline on your landing page. This is the biggest thing that moves the needle, right? If you've ever heard of that phrase, the 80-20 rule, right? What's the 20% of the activity that's getting 80% of the result? Well, on this page, the 80-20 of this page is the headline. If you could only put your attention on one thing and make it really good, it would be the headline, right? That comes first. How you craft that, how you put it together. I'm going to teach you how to write some later on. Here's another example of the headline, and you can see, look how simple the pages are, right? I'm not going crazy on copy. I'm not putting loads of words on the page. I'm not putting loads of images. I'm not making it confusing. I'm literally letting the headline do all the work. Okay, and it doesn't matter what you're looking for. This is a headline that went with one of our coaching offers, right? I'm looking for a handful of people who I can personally work with to help build, scale, and explode their online business. This was at the top of the page, and this did most of the work, right? This was what got the interest to move forward and do the next step, right? This was a headline that went along with one of our live events. Okay, this is a headline that we use on one of our Facebook advertising courses: how to create a wildly profitable Facebook ad campaign without risking any of your own money. Like I'm relying on these headlines to be the biggest driver of bringing that visitor onto my page and driving them into action. Okay, what's the next step going to be? So that's the most important thing, right? Next thing is the subheadline. Okay, the job of the subheadline is to increase the value of opting in, or to give clear instruction of what to do next, right? So I'll give you some examples of some subheadlines. So on this one here, the headline is how I generated over $2 million in the past 24 months with the charm webinar formula and 4 simple web pages. Okay, that's the headline, and I'm letting the headline do the work. Okay, most people, please understand this, especially from your YouTube advertisements, most people are going to come from your YouTube ad and they are clicking the link on your YouTube ad because whatever you said in the video, they were like, man, that was pretty cool. I want to see what this person's got going on. They're going to come to a page like this, and if they read that headline, chances are they're going to opt in, right? They're going to go ahead and click this button and they're going to opt in, or they're going to leave. If they don't do either of those things, what does that mean? It means the headline did a good enough job at keeping them on the page, but they're not quite ready to opt in. So the subheadline is kind of supporting the headline, and we're kind of using it in this scenario to kind of increase the value of opting in. So I'm giving them this big promise of what I've achieved, and then I'm saying, and how you can launch your very own wildly profitable webinar for your business, right? So I'm like taking the attention off me here. It's like, look, look how cool I am, look what I've achieved, and now I'm also going to show you how you can do it, right? So it's like increasing the value of opting in. You're kind of extending on the headline, but if I was to have that as part of the headline, then the headline would look too big and it would look too clunky on the page. Okay, so I'm kind of using the subheadline as extending on the headline, but I don't want it to take up that much room on the page. So instead, I'm making the font smaller and I'm using it as a subheadline instead. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. Another example of giving them clear instruction of what to do next. This is another way that we sometimes use our subheadlines. So we've got how I've been using YouTube ads to generate to get my business in front of millions of people and generate highly targeted leads for as low as 15 pence each. And then the subheadline is click the button below to register your seat on the training. I know it sounds so just common sense and simple, right? We're just telling them what to do next. Of course they know what to do next. They need to click this button, but you will find that you'll get an increase in conversion rates for the people that just read this. And if they read this subheadline and they're told exactly what to do, you'll have a greater amount of people that do this. Okay. Now it's not going to be a huge amount, right? It's not going to be a herd of people going, oh, okay, now I'm going to click that button. But you might get 1 or 2 extra people performing that action, because we inherently as humans, as much as we don't want to admit it, we want to be told what to do in terms of like making things easier. Okay. Some of you are going, I don't want to be told what to do. Okay. But I'm talking about in the realm of when you're navigating the internet, it becomes easier for you and your subconscious is picking stuff up when buttons say click here, right? Or do this, or now go here, right? Naturally, your subconscious is picking that up and you're being led to the next step. And so we can use copy like this on the page to lead someone to do the next step. And again, like I said, it's not going to move the needle in a big way, but it is going to make a difference. Okay, so that's the subheadline. Now, thirdly is the bullet points. Now, the bullet points could also be any other piece of copy that you've got on your page. In my case, I'm usually doing lead generation, right? I want to get someone to opt in for either a webinar or to download a PDF or a cheat sheet. I'm trying to get them to opt in for something. And so I'm going to utilize these bullet points. And my bullet points, and I really want you to understand this. This is, I'm going to kind of describe it in the same way that I did for the subheadline, in that the bullet points are supporting the headline. Okay, and I'm going to repeat myself, but I'm going to do this on purpose because I want this to really, lock itself into your head. If someone lands on this registration page here, which obviously I have zoomed out so you can see the whole thing. If someone comes to this page and they read that headline, how I've been using simple YouTube ads to get my business in front of millions of people and generate highly targeted leads for as low as 15 pence each. If they read that, okay, and they neither opt in nor leave the page, what we know from that is that the headline piqued their curiosity enough that they want to stick around on the page, but it hasn't quite done the job to get the opt-in yet, right? They're not actually registering, but they're not leaving. So now the bullet points come into play to see if we can tip them over the edge to want to register based on what we're writing here. Okay, so I'm usually going to have a little bit of supporting copy on my landing pages, right? I want the headline to do the job, but in case it doesn't, I'm usually going to have some bullet points that then go a little bit deeper into what it is that they're going to learn specifically, and I'm hoping that they're going to read something in there that is going to get them to want to register. Okay, so it's supporting the headline. It's really important that you understand that. So you don't want to repeat yourself again. You don't want to have a bullet point that says exactly the same thing as the headline. You now want to truly understand that this headline has done the trick enough to get them to stick around. So now the bullet points have got to have a slightly different angle, right? That's going to tip them over the edge. So we want to be a bit more specific with what they're going to learn on the next page or what they're going to get on the next page. And again, although I'm talking in the context of bullet points, just adapt this to whatever your landing page model looks like. Okay, it may not be bullet points for you, but it may be just a little bit more information about what it is that they're going to get on the next page. Okay, so headline, we're trying to get that to do the work. If it doesn't quite, then you want to have some supporting text further down the page that will hopefully push them over the edge. And in most cases, that might look like some bullet points, which is what I do. Okay. And here's another example where I've got my full registration page here. And if the headline didn't quite do the trick, then I've got 4 bullet points here that might push them over the edge. And then other than that, I'm keeping the page pretty darn clean. Okay. There's not much else going on. Okay. So, here's some other examples from just different things. This was from a free report that I put together. So this wasn't for a webinar. This was for a landing page where I was offering a free PDF. I had a picture of the PDF, and if the picture and the headline didn't do the trick, then these bullet points might help them, get over the fence. Okay. Again, some more examples of bullet points and some more example of bullet points. Now, I'm going to go into in a later lesson in this module. I'm actually going to start teaching you how to write copy. So I'm not going to teach that to you right now. This is more of an overview of all of those 11 things that need to go into your landing page. And then we'll get back to writing some copy a little bit later on. Okay. Number 4 is the background image. Okay. Now, this might not be applicable to all of you. This will be applicable to some of you that maybe you're building a personal brand. Maybe you're doing webinars, maybe there's just something to where your face is going to be recognized, right, by your audience, or they're kind of buying into you as opposed to buying into a brand. If that's the case, then take note of number 4, because the job of this is to build rapport, increase credibility or authority, and confirm that they're in the right place. A really good way that this works well is if I'm running a YouTube advertisement, okay, and that video is it's obviously me in the video in most cases. So then when they click on the link, and if they come to a page where they see me again, right, they see this picture, there's something nice that happens there where they go, okay, oh yes, it's that guy again. Okay, I'm definitely in the right place. Okay, I've come from this YouTube ad from this fella that I saw with the glasses, and now clicked on this page. Oh, here he is again. Okay, I feel comfortable with my decision to leave the YouTube platform and come over here and start to navigate this website, because I feel comforted by the fact that this guy is here. Does that make sense? I know some of this stuff can seem a little bit silly, but I promise you it makes a difference. Okay, and also just helps with the rapport building and the authority building for you. So again, this is more for those of you that are doing something in the personal brand and that kind of thing. Okay, number 5. This is an important one that I wanted to include, just to kind of get the cogs turning in your brain as to whether you should have video on the landing page, right? And so we're just gonna talk about this for a little bit. I'm gonna give you some examples. If you're doing lead generation, okay, meaning that if your business and your landing page is essentially trying to get an opt-in, okay, you're trying to generate someone's name or email address, maybe their phone number, maybe you're trying to have them book an appointment with you, maybe you are having them register for a webinar, you're having them download your lead magnet, any of those examples and many, many more. Okay, if your landing page is a very simple page where you only want them to perform one action, which is to opt in for the thing that they're going to be getting, right? If that's what you're doing, then here's my guideline for you. Okay, if you're doing let's actually start down here. If you're doing 90 plus seconds in your YouTube video, and obviously in the next module I'm going to be teaching you about YouTube videos and how you put them together and how you put your ads together, all that kind of stuff. So that's coming in the next module. Okay, so we'll decide what type of video you're going to be using in the next module. But just now, for argument's sake, and just as an example, let's say that your YouTube video ad was over 90 seconds. Okay, if it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 minutes long, for example, you've had a pretty good amount of time to be able to indoctrinate that audience a little bit, to start to get them excited about what it is that you're talking about, to give them some information on what it is that you're offering or what you're about, and all of that good stuff. And then by the time they click the link in your YouTube ad, they're probably much closer to just quote unquote wanting the thing, right? Whatever it was that you were talking about in the YouTube ad, if your video is over 90 seconds, you've had at least a minute and a half, and they probably feel like they've gotten to know you at least a little bit. And the next step, whatever's on the next page, is going to be quite impulsive for them to opt in. Okay, they're not going to need that much more information. If in this video you were talking about them getting a free PDF and you explained what the PDF was, then chances are they just want to come to the page and just get the PDF, right? So there's no need for a video. Okay, we don't need another video explaining more about the PDF. That's probably just going to turn them off. Okay, they clicked on your ad because they want the darn PDF. So just take them to a text-based page where you can literally just have them opt in to get that PDF. Don't have another video explaining more about it. You're literally just giving yourself the chance to lose some of those people because they're watching the video before they opt in, and then they're going to get distracted and maybe leave the page or get called for dinner, or their phone rings or something like that, and you've lost them. Okay, so at this point, just get them to opt in as quickly as possible, and the way to do that is by using a text-based page. So for me, again, just to sum up, if I'm using videos that are over a minute and a half, I'm usually going to use a text-based page. I'm not going to have a video on my landing page. Okay, now if your YouTube video was maybe 30 to 60 seconds, maybe let's just say for argument's sake it was 40 seconds long, that is quite short. Okay, that's quite a short video ad. So you may not have been able to get enough information across yet for them to know that they actually want the thing on the next page. Maybe you were, again, let's use the same example, you were offering them a free PDF, and they've clicked because it sounded interesting, but they don't really have the full picture yet. They don't really know everything about the PDF and why they should want it. So maybe you could take them to a page that has a video on it explaining a little bit more. Okay. Likewise, I would also test that against just going to a text-based page. Okay, because I usually prefer landing pages that don't have videos. Okay, so even if my video was 30 seconds or if it was 6 minutes, I usually would still go to a text-based page. I just think it's an easier, quicker, more seamless process to just get the thing we want, which is for them to opt in. Okay, but I'm giving you permission here as a part of this training that, look, if you have a shorter video, maybe that warrants you having a video on the landing page or the capture page, as it's also known, to give them a bit more information. Okay, but worth testing the two, right? Hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully I've explained that well enough. Now, for everything else, let's say you're doing e-commerce. Let's say you have a service-based business. Maybe you're doing consulting. Maybe you have some kind of high-ticket thing. There's just a few examples, but the list just goes on and on and on. If you're doing something else and your landing page is not to do with lead generation, but it's something else, okay, then essentially you just need to ask yourself this question: do they need more information before moving forward? Right? Think about the video ad that you've put together on YouTube, and by the time they click and come to your page, are they ready realistically to make that impulsive decision? Okay, if they are, and you feel that that's a good match for the video ad, then yes, don't have a video. Okay, but if you know that based on the video ad, actually they would need a little bit more information about you before they could move forward with the next step in your sales process, then maybe a video would be helpful. Okay, an example of this would be if your video ad is all about your photography services, right? And you've enticed them in the video ad by showing them some of your work and getting them excited and building a connection with them, and then they click to come to your landing page. Yeah, of course, they're not going to book an inquiry with you about your photography services with just a little bit of text on the page. You're probably going to want to have a video on that page that just says, hey, thank you so much for visiting this page. I'm so excited that you're even just remotely interested in having me shoot your wedding and your special day. And I just wanted to give you a bit more information here in this video on this page before maybe you book an appointment to have a chat with me. Okay, and maybe you'd give them a bit more information in that video. Vice versa, you can just do that with text as well on the landing page too. But again, this is really the question that you need to be asking yourself: is do they need more information before moving forward? Can the landing page essentially just get them on and off the landing page as quickly as possible, right? They land on the landing page and we just want them to either give us their information, download the PDF, request a call with us, whatever it is. We want them to do that as quickly as possible, and we don't want them to linger on that page. Okay, so that's the question that you need to ask yourself, right? Now, number 6 is logo. This is really, really important. So the job of the logo is to increase credibility, brand awareness, and also YouTube like it right? They're really going to value the fact that you have a logo on your registration page or your capture page or your landing page. They're going to like that. It makes you feel a bit more credible, right? So having a logo is pretty good. I've got just a few examples of where I put it. Sometimes it's at the bottom of the page. I just like to have it there. Sometimes we've got it at the top. I mean, we kind of mix it up from time to time. But by default, I do like to use a logo on a page. I just think it gives it that extra bit of flavor. It makes us feel a bit more credible, and your user will like it rather than it just feeling like a very quote unquote internet marketing-y page. Right, a logo just gives it that extra little bit of flair, that bit of credibility. So a logo is a really good thing to make use of. And again, like I said, even just from a compliance standpoint, and YouTube being a fan of your business when you're promoting on their platform, they like to see a logo, right? They really like it. So it kind of helps you in terms of your building a good relationship with YouTube in your ad account. Okay. Number 7 are links at the bottom of the page. These are your disclaimer links. So, examples of these might be earnings disclaimers, or, terms of use, privacy policy, delivery policy, refund policy, contact us. These are just some examples, but every single one of you should have these links at the bottom of your landing page. Okay. This actually goes hand in hand with not just increasing your conversions, but also the whole compliance thing that we're going to talk about in the next lesson. YouTube really want to see you having these disclaimer links at the bottom, right? Or just having this in place just makes you look and feel more credible, and it does make a difference. We've actually tested it. We tested one page that had this list of links at the bottom and one page that didn't. They were both identical pages, and the one that did have the links got a higher opt-in rate. So it seems that we're in a place right now where people don't want to opt in to dodgy looking pages, right? If they come to a landing page and there's a nice logo, you've got all these links at the bottom to contact us and privacy policy, it makes someone feel a bit more comfortable about their decision to move forward and opt in for the next thing, or make a purchase, or whatever the next thing is. This does help. So please take note of this, number 7. Okay. Number 8 is really important. This is called above the fold. Now, for those that don't know, above the fold is basically everything that is visible on your website without the user needing to scroll down the page. Okay, so you can see this example here this is the whole website. Okay, but this is what's actually visible to the user before they would need to scroll. And what's really important is we need to have the most important action step above the fold. Okay, in most cases, right? This is something that you should be thinking about by default. It's when you're building your landing page, before you start running your YouTube ads, you want to be thinking, is it really clear to the user what the next step is that I want them to perform? And is that button, is that link, is that video, whatever the next step is that clearly visible and above the fold so that the user does not need to scroll? Okay, attention span nowadays is going down and down and down, and if we don't grab someone's attention, again, assuming that they wouldn't even need to scroll, if we don't grab their attention like that, we're going to lose them. Okay, and so it's really important. So here's an example. If you're selling anything with in e-commerce, I mean, look, if you wanted to buy these trousers, and I actually saw these on a YouTube advertisement, they had a fantastic video ad selling these these shirts, right? And they had a great ad where they were comparing this shirt with a similar shirt that would get all crinkled and creased, and this one wouldn't. It was a really good YouTube ad, and I was enticed by it. In fact, I really wanted to buy one. I think I still will. And so I clicked on the YouTube ad, and lo and behold, I came to this page, and they made it very simple for me to move forward. I didn't need to scroll. You can see the top of the website. This was the very top of the page. We've got the price. We've got all these reviews to make me feel comfortable. They've even managed to get a nice little headline in there before the fold, and everything that I need to do in order to place an order is all here above the fold. I don't need to scroll. If I had to scroll or click around, they may have lost me. Okay. In fact, they've done such a good job that I'm using them as an example and a case study in this training. Okay. So worth keeping that in mind. Everything needs to be above the fold. Another example is the trousers. Okay, I saw these two. They came from a YouTube ad that I saw. They also had a great YouTube ad, and it really enticed me. In fact, I actually went back to find these screenshots to send to put into this video lesson, because I saved this web page because I want to come back and actually purchase a pair of these trousers. Okay, and again, everything's here, right? Got the price, got all the reviews, which makes me feel good. Choose a color, choose a size, place an order. It's all above the fold. I have not needed to scroll. It's really important. Now, here's an example of a page that this is no good for, okay? And I've done this on purpose. I rejigged this page for the sake of this example. But look, this is a webinar registration page, okay? How can I expect someone to opt in for this webinar if the button is down here below the fold? Someone's going to look around here and go, how do I move forward? I can't be bothered. I'm going, right? You'll be so surprised how quick someone will lose attention to your page and lose interest in your page unless you keep things really clear and really simple as to what it is they need to do next. You will lose them. Okay, so this is a bad example of how to do this. This button should be right here under the headline. Okay, so that's above the fold. Hopefully that makes sense to you as well. Number 9 is mobile friendly. Okay, you've got to make sure that your landing pages are mobile friendly. When we start getting into the later modules and I help you start running your YouTube advertisements, you're going to get a lot of traffic from mobile devices. Okay, there's just no way around that. In fact, mobile traffic is converting really well. It's actually quite cheap on the YouTube platform. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do it in later modules. So you've got to make sure that your landing page is mobile optimized. So here's an example of what that might look like. Here's one of my landing pages here where I want someone to register for this webinar. Okay, and this is what it would look like on a mobile device. Okay, and obviously there's a little bit more below here. I've just cut it off for the sake of this screenshot. But if someone was to scroll, they would see the rest of these bullet points. And you can see it's nice and neat. It fits a screen. Imagine this size just fitting in your mobile phone screen. It just feels good. The button is above the fold. They wouldn't need to scroll on the mobile device to be able to opt in. Headline's nice and clear, doesn't take up too much space, but just enough. So you've got to make sure it's mobile optimized. Here's another example of what that might look like. Okay, so please note that down. It's really important. It doesn't matter what landing page software you use. You've got to make sure it is mobile friendly. So important, please. Okay, and here's another example. Okay, number 10 is visual appearance. This is most important. I've said most important, probably most important after the headline, but get this wrong and you'll make every other step redundant. If your page doesn't actually look nice, if it looks visually unpleasant, okay, you are going to lose people so quick, right? So what I did to give you some examples of this is I literally went to Google and I typed in ugly landing page. That's literally what I typed in. It was either ugly landing page or ugly capture page. I really hope that the people that these pages belong to are not in this program, because I'll feel very embarrassed. But I'm going to go through them anyway, because they should still kind of learn from their mistake. These pages look awful. So look at this. Here's the first page. I mean, this is just nasty looking, right? Like, here's the thing that they need to do. Here's the space for an email address and the sign up button, but the images are all over the place. The text doesn't match. You've got arrows here, arrows there. I mean, this is just a mess, right? So someone's going to land on this page. This person could have the nicest copy, right? You could have all of this stuff here down in blue, this blue text on the right hand side, this could be great. Right, I'm sure he's saying some really cool stuff, or she's saying some really cool stuff down here, but I'm not getting to that because I'm looking at the overall page and thinking this doesn't look very appealing. I'm going to get out of here, right? There's nothing that grabs my attention. This is why I was talking to you about the importance of a headline. If there was one big headline that was doing the work, then that's where my attention would be focusing on, and you'd get much better results like that. Okay, here's another example. So much text on this page. There's too many distractions. Right. In fact, the biggest word on this page is bomb. Right. Like, that's the biggest word on this page. If I look around here and think, what's grabbing my attention? I'm reading the word bomb. What benefit is that to the user for that to be the one thing that they read? Okay. You've got to make sure the headline is what's grabbing their attention. And again, I'm going to teach you some headline writing formulas a little bit later on here. Okay. But another example of what would be a bad design for a page. Okay, here's another one. Right, rather self-explanatory. We're kind of just having a bit of fun here together, but this is just awful, absolutely awful. I mean, look, the name and email and phone field is in black. I can't even see where I'm supposed to click to give them my name and email address, even if I wanted to. This just looks absolutely outrageous, and you shouldn't do anything like it. Okay. Another example, we're just looking at, they've tried to get a headline, to be the main thing that draws the attention. But my gosh, there's just so much white on black. And I don't even know what the next step is. In fact, it takes you a minute to work out that there's actually an opt-in box right here, and the button is so small. I mean, it's not doing the trick, nor is this one, nor is this one. You get the idea, right? Why am I looking at a massive tree and a palm tree? And why is the information on the page so small, right? I haven't come here to look at a picture of a palm tree. I've come here to look at what you've got to offer me, okay? So these are bad examples. This is why we use tools like ClickFunnels, okay? Most of you probably have a ClickFunnels account already. If you want to use ours, this is our affiliate link for you to get a free trial. It's frontlinemarketer.com/ClickFunnels. I'll leave that link below this video if you do want to use us. But you do need to get a landing page software like this. All of these pages that you've seen me building, I practice what I preach, okay? I'm not going to recommend something that we don't use. You've got to have a piece of software like this that just builds these pages effortlessly. And we pretty much use ClickFunnels for everything that we do. They got a ton of templates, all that cool stuff. So, I'm sure you already know you need a landing page software, but definitely invest in something like ClickFunnels. It will definitely serve you well. Okay. And then finally, number 11 is loading speed. Okay, this is really, really interesting, and something that a lot of people don't really pay enough attention to. The speed of which your pages load will actually affect your advertising. So if you start running your YouTube ads, and this is why we need to know this stuff before we get into running ads, and this is why so many people run head on into major problems, because they get trigger happy and start running YouTube ads before they even start to understand and comprehend some of this stuff, right? Loading speed's really important. If you start running your YouTube ads and you are linking to a page that doesn't load very fast, okay, then YouTube is going to penalize that page, and in turn is going to penalize your ad. Okay, they're actually going to start putting your costs up, because the way they're looking at it is that their users aren't having a good experience. They're clicking on a link on a YouTube ad and they're being taken to a page that takes a long time to load, and they consider that not a very good user experience, and so they don't really want that many of their visitors on their platform to go through and have that bad experience. So they're going to make you pay for it by actually increasing your costs to advertise, right? So definitely worth using a resource. This is free. It's a free tool that Google have. It's called testmysite.withgoogle.com. There's a ton of other tools out there that will help you test the speed of your site. I like this one because they by default search your site on the average 3G signal on someone's mobile device, which most of your traffic is going to come from mobile, and a lot of that will not be on a Wi-Fi, but it will be on a 3G connection. So it's just really cool to just get a real life speed check, right? And just worth testing that against other things. If you don't know how fast your page should be loading, then go and check out your competitors, right? Like go and grab the URL to some of your biggest competitors in your space and put their URL and their website into this tool and see how quick their pages load, and then check your landing page and see how you compare. And if yours takes twice as long to load, then you need to contact your hosting service, or you need to contact your landing page software, or you need to try and you just need to then start getting onto Google and doing some search queries, which might be an example is how do I speed up the loading time of my page. Okay, common sense stuff, right? Go to Google and see how you can fix it, but worth just testing the speed of your competitors versus your pages and just seeing if you're kind of hitting the average of your competition. Okay, so final thoughts. Number one, on your landing pages, strip the fat. Okay, don't have loads of mess and loads of images that are unnecessary and loads of copy that is not aiding the experience of the user. Okay, keep your message clear. Usually just a headline will do the trick, and if not, have some supporting copy that will help get that person over the fence. Number 3, have the most important stuff above the fold, okay, of your website. Number 4, keep this in mind, please. You're not building the landing page for you, okay? You're building it for your audience. So think through, what do they want to experience, right? What stuff are they used to in the industry that they would resonate with and feel comfortable with? What colors are they used to? What page design are they used to seeing? And how can I build this page to aid their user experience, right? You know, when I say this, what comes to mind is I've gone to restaurants and I've gone to cafes where I go in and the decor looks absolutely appalling, right? It just looks disastrous. And I think, why on earth is there some of the most revolting wallpaper, you know, on this wall? And why is there all this like dusty old, you know, collector's items just randomly like on these shelves? Like, I'm not feeling very invited into this restaurant. And that's a big problem, because that restaurant owner has tried to design that restaurant for him, right, or her. They've gone, well, I like all these collector's items and I like things being dusty, so I'm going to leave that up there. And I like that wallpaper, so I'm going to leave it up there. And you're not creating a nice experience for the customers who are going to be coming in. Ultimately, they would need to design that restaurant for what the customer wants to experience. And the same goes for your website or your sales funnel. Don't build it for you. If you like cats, don't have loads of images on your landing page of cats. It's not going to aid you, okay? Build it for your audience, okay? Number 5, I would utilize the ability to split test, okay? Split testing is essentially being able to run your YouTube ad to your link, and your landing page link will alternate between one version of your page and another version of your page, so that half your traffic goes to one and half your traffic goes to another, and then you can see if one is outperforming the other. If you're using ClickFunnels, they actually have this feature, and this is what it would look like. You can see I've got one version of the page over here, and then I've redesigned it slightly over here, and I've set the traffic to go to 50% this page and 50% this page. So this is not actually an active live link anymore. I'm just using this for the sake of this example. But if someone was to visit this URL, which I would be running my YouTube traffic to, okay, half of it's going to go here and half of it's going to go here. And then I can see which one is outperforming the other. So worth utilizing split testing. Okay, so anyway, that was quite a long lesson. Well done for getting through that with me. Those are the 11 most important things to keep in mind when you're designing and putting together your landing pages. Please, please, please keep that stuff in mind, and I will meet you in the next lesson where we're going to talk about best practices from a compliance standpoint. As boring as that sounds, okay, there's going to be some good stuff in there, and nonetheless, you need to learn this. So please, please, please don't skip the next lesson, but meet me there right now. I'll see you in a sec. Okay, cool. All right, nice. So let me know in the again, if you've got questions emerging, please don't type them in now, but just write them down and then save them for me at the end, and I'll get to all of your questions at the very end. Okay, so save your questions, but just let me know, was that helpful? Give me a yes if that was really helpful and you've got a ton of stuff to take away from that, and give me a no, like genuinely give me helpful feedback. Give me a no if that wasn't helpful, and you didn't feel like that was enough. So just give me a yes or a no. That would be really helpful feedback for me. Great info, John, says Deborah. Yes, 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 yes. Fire hose, says Richard. Awesome. Yes, very helpful. Yes. Cool. Derek says yes. New stuff not heard before. Very cool. Yes, very. Yes, yes, yes. and Hodges says ridiculing my page was fun. Dude, you need to change that page, man. That is shocking. You should be ashamed of yourself, dude. Yes, good stuff, says Marco. Yeah, that was great. Cool, cool, cool. All right, nice. That's really good feedback. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And I haven't seen a single no, which is just really helpful, right? I want to make sure I'm on the right track and I'm giving you what you need. That stuff's just so important. So, all right, cool. So now I'm going to take a quick glass of water. And we're going to dive straight into the next one, which, as I stated, might seem boring, but boy, do you need to learn it, okay? Cool. So here we go. Next one coming up. Hey everyone, it's John Pemberthy here again, and welcome back to lesson 3 now, where we're going to be going into landing page best practices for compliance. Okay, so the previous lesson was all about for conversion, how can you create a high converting page, and now we're going to be talking about it from a compliance standpoint. And this is really important because we want to play by YouTube's rules, right? What I mean by compliance is essentially you can't just say and do anything you want on your landing page and expect YouTube to be happy with you advertising that page on their platform, right? There are certain things that you can't do. Okay, for example, you wouldn't expect to be able to have a page with nude pictures on it and expect YouTube to be happy to send their visitors there, right? That's a very extreme example, but it's an example nonetheless of, look, you can't just do anything, right? And now on a more tame example, there's tons of other things that we can't do, and I want to kind of walk you through them. And this is a really important lesson, and I really want you to pay attention and take as many notes as you can, because if you do this, if you do what I'm going to teach you in this lesson, you will have a long-term business and most likely long-term success on the YouTube platform. Okay, if you don't do what I'm going to teach you in this lesson, then you run the risk of getting yourself into some sticky situations, and you're not going to have a long-term business. So this really is important. So let's dive straight into this. Okay, firstly, when advertising on YouTube, you've got to play by their rules, right? This is their home, this is their house, right? You come in to their advertising platform, you take your shoes off, you knock nicely, you come in, you take your shoes off, and you play by their rules. Whatever they do inside their house, you got to do the same. So there's no point in us arguing with or crying over or getting upset with something that YouTube is saying we can't do. Okay, if there's something in their advertising guidelines that you don't like, it is of no interest to you to just be complaining about it, right? We just need to move forward. It's their advertising platform. We do whatever they want to do, okay, and we find ways around it, and we find ways to promote our business within the scope of their guidelines. Okay, so with that being said, first things first, please, I want you to write this down. Read YouTube's advertising guidelines. Okay, you can find it at support.google.com/ads policy. Okay, you can see it on the screen. You can write that down. I'll leave a link to that below this video in the just somewhere below this video in the members area. Okay, it'll take you to a page that looks something like this. It might look slightly different by the time you get to it, but you'll know if you're in the right place, right? They'll be talking about their policies for advertisers. They have 4 main categories: prohibited content, prohibited practices, restricted content, and editorial and technical. Okay, please just read them all. Okay, just literally scroll this page. It'll take you probably 1 hour, maybe not even that if you're a fast reader. They've got a ton of stuff down the page, and then over here on the right hand side they've got shortcuts to lots of different specific things that would be helpful for you to know. And so it's really worth doing that. The amount of advertisers that I see that come on the YouTube platform and even the Facebook platform, right, and just think that they can just run any ad that they want and not get into trouble. Okay, it's not the case. If you take the time to read this page, I promise you'll be head and shoulders above most other people on the platform. And more importantly, you're just protecting your business long term, right? Why would we want to knowingly do something that's against YouTube's terms of service? Then you're just living in fear every day as to whether they're going to close your account down. Okay, as long as you read this page and you do what they say, you will have a long and fruitful relationship with YouTube. Okay, so that's the first thing. Now, that being said, I'm going to take you through the 80-20 of what you need to know. So I really don't want you to mistake this for, okay, cool, John's going to show me some of the most important ones, so I can just ignore reading that whole document and John will just tell me the most important ones. Okay, that's not the case. I am going to give you the most important ones, but that does not replace you reading the entire guidelines for yourself. Okay, please promise me you'll do that. I really want you to have lasting results, so please do that. But here's some of the most important ones. So according to Google and YouTube, and if I refer to Google in any other sense within this course, just understand that Google owns YouTube. And so when we're talking about best practices, usually it's a statement coming from Google because Google own YouTube. Okay, so according to Google, They've said, we want consumers to have a good experience when they click on an ad. So ad destinations, which is your landing page, must offer unique value to users and be functional, useful, and easy to navigate. Okay, that's one big broad statement that they've come out and said. And there's a few things that we can learn from this, right? We want to make sure that that we are building our business based on providing value. Right? If someone comes to a page and there's something really cool on value, right? The strategy session that they can book with you, or the PDF, or the webinar, like whatever it is that you're selling, if it provides value to the user, it's going to really help. And where they said, it's going to be functional, that's where we're talking about loading speeds, right? That comes under that. If you've got a page that's loading really slowly, that's not a very functional page. Okay. And useful and easy to navigate. Look, we've got to have simple pages. Don't overcomplicate this. Don't make it messy. Don't make someone come to a page and not know how to move forward. So don't let this stuff scare you or worry you. Okay, essentially just put together a really nice landing page that offers something really cool, right? And it looks pretty. And that's basically what we're trying to achieve, right? But let's dig in a little bit more. Okay, this is straight from the horse's mouth. This is straight from Google and YouTube. We've kind of edited these statements slightly to make them a bit more user friendly and easy to read. But here's some that they just blatantly put out there that they want you to abide by. Okay, so first one is this: no pop-ups that would interfere with the ability to see content. Okay, an opt-in pop-up will be fine after the button has been clicked. So if you've got to if you're doing a two-step opt-in and they click the button and then it pops up the opt-in field, that's absolutely fine. But if you're on your landing page, if you've got a pop-up that they've landed on the page and suddenly the page has been overtaken by a pop-up that they then have to click the X button on to get rid of, YouTube's not a big fan of that. Okay, will that sometimes get through the YouTube filters? Yes, I've got some of my pages where we do have some sort of a pop-up, and sometimes those ads do get approved, but they do blatantly say they don't want it. So it's just worth kind of keeping that in mind. Next thing is exit pops would not be best advised, right? Sites that interfere with the back button is not approved. So if YouTube is deeming that you've got an exit pop on your website because you're trying to force a user to stay on the page and they're trying to exit and you're not letting them, they're not going to like that. Okay, so if the user clicks the back button or the user clicks the X on the page and you have an exit pop that pops up and says, hey, are you sure you want to leave because I've got this, I've got that, they don't like that. Okay, so don't use exit pops. Cannot have too many ads on the landing page, right? For example, banner ads. Your website must have more or original content than ads. So don't be sending your YouTube traffic to a page that just has tons and tons and tons of banner ads and is just overtaken with advertising. I can't imagine you would, because that's just not going to be the most sensible thing to do anyway. It doesn't really make any sense to send them to a landing page that has loads of ads on, but just worth pointing out and mentioning to you. Okay, this is a really important one. The URL in the ad must match the URL of the landing page. Okay, what this means is this can't include any redirects. Okay, so for example, if the display URL is domain.com, meaning when someone is watching your YouTube ad on the YouTube platform, okay, and you're saying, hey, I've got this cool thing and I want you to check it out, click the button on this video and you can come and grab this PDF, there your link to your website is going to be visible. That's called your display URL. That's the URL that is being displayed on your YouTube ad that they're clicking on. Okay, so it must go to a page that is the same domain, so domain.com/test. It cannot go anywhere else. So you can't have your display URL being example.com, okay, and then when they click on your ad, they're actually taken to domain.org. Okay, you've got to put your display URL as the same root domain that they're coming from, that they're landing on. Okay, so, and if any of this is not making any sense, by the way, if at any point going through this training you feel like something hasn't made sense that John has said, do me a favor, get in touch with us. Okay, send us an email, You know, go and find the Facebook group and leave a post there. Contact me on Facebook. Listen, we don't want to leave you confused. So if any of this doesn't make sense, there's a good chance that as we go through the rest of these modules, it is going to make sense. But please get in touch. I would hate for you to feel like something's confusing and instead of reaching out, you just give up on this, right? So get in touch with us. We want to support you. Okay. This is interesting. No spelling errors on the landing page. So you've got to be really careful that you've you've done a good job at checking your spelling. Now, are they going to be absolutely militant on this and not let you have any spelling errors whatsoever? Okay, probably not. They're not going to be super duper militant, but this is a guideline that they have set, so it is worth doing your best to not have any spelling errors. Okay. Another one which is really interesting is use of capital letters is not permitted in the call to action or on your landing page. Okay. Now, funnily enough, and I've got to be really careful with how I do this, otherwise you'll think that I'm going against the advertising. Well, to be honest, I kind of am. We've got some of our landing pages where we do use capitals in our headline. We've got some where we actually bold, we actually capitalize the first letter of every word in the headline. Okay. And it does, we have had those ads approved and we've had that landing page approved. But there's a strategy to be able to do that. So if you do want to kind of bend the rules just a little bit, okay, there's a way to do that, and I'm going to share that with you later on in this video. But again, don't follow my advice on everything I'm doing, because sometimes I'm kind of playing with the rules a little bit, and and if you want to be completely just for a fact that you're doing nothing wrong, then take this into consideration, because this is what they're putting out there as a statement. Okay. Another one is no emojis or special characters. They would prefer to not see that stuff on your landing page. Okay. So just worth keeping that in mind. Images on landing pages must be clear, not blurry. Okay. So again, just another guideline to follow. Using false claims or claims that entice the user with an improbable result, even if this result is possible, right, as the likely outcome that a user can expect, e.g. income claims. You're not really going to want to say how this college dropout made 100,000 per month. Definitely at the very beginning of creating your ad account, they're not going to like that at all. Okay. Another one is extreme weight loss programs, or eat whatever you want and lose 10 pounds in a month. They're probably not going to like that statement, because it's not truly realistic, is it, right? Testimonials that claim specific results must include a visible disclaimer stating that there is no guarantee of specific results and the results can vary. So for example, if you've got a before and after weight loss picture, you want to have a very, very, very small bit of text underneath that just says, this result is not typical, your result will vary. Okay. So just worth keeping that in mind if you're doing any testimonials or before and after pictures. Some landing pages with results may require a disclaimer. And the way that we get around this, by the way, when we're talking about big numbers in some of our YouTube ads and on our landing pages, is, I told you in the previous lesson about the importance of having those links at the bottom of your landing page, right? Like the terms of service, the privacy policy, the contact us. Well, one of the ones that we have is an earnings disclaimer. So that's how we get around being able to talk about big numbers and income claims on our landing page, is because we have a disclaimer at the very bottom of the page that is our earnings disclaimer that basically says my results are nowhere close to typical and your results will vary. Okay. And any claim that is general, so get followers or subscribers without exact number, needs a disclaimer. So basically think about it like this: if you're basically making a claim that the visitor can do something or achieve something or learn something, they can absolutely learn something, then you just want to have a disclaimer in the bottom of the page. The very, very bottom of the page, you want to have that link that is your earnings disclaimer, okay, or your the disclaimer that matches what you're saying. Okay, so that is stuff that is straight from the horse's mouth. That's from Google's mouth. Here's straight from my mouth. That doesn't sound very pleasant, does it? But this is stuff that basically I want to give you my shortcuts, right? I want to basically teach you things that we've learned that, look, that's all the boring stuff that YouTube and Google have put out publicly. It's worth us learning from that. It's worth us being as careful as we can to do what they want. But there is a little bit of wiggle room, okay? And sometimes I like to play with that wiggle room. And I've just got some best practices for you that I think would be really helpful when it comes to trying to make sure your landing pages are as compliant as possible, but kind of wiggling around it sometimes just a little bit. So here's some things to keep in mind. First, your first ever YouTube ad, you want to play it really, really, really safe, okay? What you're going to find is that over time, as you start running YouTube ads on their platform, they're actually going to get a bit more relaxed with you. So a good example of this is you might try and run a certain YouTube ad or a certain landing page, and YouTube disapprove it. Okay, they disapprove it. They say, we're not having that ad run on this platform. But a few months down the line, or even a few weeks down the line, or some cases a few days down the line, they start to get a bit more relaxed with you and your ad account, and they go, yeah, okay, we'll let you run that one now. Okay, so that's just how it works. So if I'm going to use a really, really stupid example, but kind of gets the point across, we've all seen Lord of the Rings, right? We all know Sauron's eye, right? When his eye is on you, he is locked in on you. Okay, and so think of that. Think of Google like that. When you're a brand new advertiser, when you create a brand new Google advertising account and you're going to start running your first ever ads, Google is on you like Sauron's eye. It's like it is locked in on that account, and it wants to make sure that the first pieces of information that you put into that account, the first ad that you run, the first landing page you run, they want to make sure that it is absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, it is compliant to a T. Okay, but then once you start running more and more traffic on the platform and you start putting more and more ads, from your account, they're going to start to get a bit more loose with you. They're going to relax a bit, and Sauron's eye is going to be drawn somewhere else, and Frodo can continue his journey a little bit, and he can have a better time, right? So, a really strange example, but I just think it kind of gets the point across. So think about it like this: the first ever ad that you run, Google, Sauron's eye, is well on you, right? It is checking the ad. It's making sure everything you're saying is good. It's checking the landing page, make sure everything that you're saying on there is good. And then once you start running that first ad, you run a second ad, right? You create another YouTube ad campaign. And this one, the focus is not so much on you, right? They're getting a little bit looser. They're not really paying as much attention to making sure that you are hardcore, like straight up following their policies. And then by the third ad, they're really starting to relax now. And you could say some things in this ad and on this landing page that maybe you couldn't have done in the first one. Okay, so there is a bit of a strategy to this, right? If you've got certain claims that you do want to make, right? If you're in the fitness space and you do want to make some kind of weight loss claims about your journey and what you've achieved and what your clients have achieved, or if you're in, marketing or finance and you want to talk about, income numbers and whatnot, all that you got to do, the strategy is the first ad, make sure it's as clean as possible. Right, super clean, nothing against their policies. Once that's running, they'll be super happy with that, and their attention will start to dwindle, and you'll be able to get away with a little bit more as you move forward. Okay, so an example of this, a very real example, would be the first ad might look like something like this. My headline on my landing page might be how I've been using simple YouTube ads to get my business in front of my ideal audience. Okay, simple as that. Now the second ad that I run, I might start to refine that a little bit. And now I'm going to put how I've been using simple YouTube ads to get my business in front of millions of people and generate highly targeted leads. So I'm getting a bit bolder now, and I'm starting to talk about, things that I have experienced and achieved. But notice that I haven't capitalized, the first letter of the words. But then by the third ad, I'm saying things like how I've been using simple YouTube ads to get my business in front of millions of people and generate highly targeted leads for as low as 15 pence each. Okay, now I'm getting a bit bolder. YouTube's taking its attention off my account a little bit. I'm getting away with a bit more, and now I can kind of get away with it with a headline like that, which we have actually run this headline and it's worked absolutely fine. Okay, so one final thing to clarify on this, I'm not saying that it's absolutely, this way where it's like first ad, second ad, and by the third ad, you could be doing this. I'm using this as an example, right? For you, it might be 10 ads down the line. It might just be, 5 days. It might be, after a certain amount that you've spent. Okay. But you kind of get the idea. From the first little bit of activity in your account, just completely play by their rules. And then you can start to loosen up a little bit as you move forward. Okay. Next thing, and we've talked about it from a conversion standpoint, but just to talk about it from a compliance standpoint, YouTube do want you to have your disclaimer bar and disclaimer links, and that's for anything from a privacy policy to a terms of service or terms of use to a refund policy to a contact us. As much as you can put down there that just gives information on essentially how you run your business and all that kind of stuff, it's worth putting that stuff in there. An interesting thing just to let you know about is you can actually, you can very cheaply buy templates for this stuff online. Okay, so if you're wondering what you would say in a privacy policy or a terms of use or a terms of service or whatever else, you can very inexpensively just Google and find some templates very cheaply, which funnily enough is what I did. Okay, I didn't write my own. I just found some templates online. Okay, so really simple to execute on, but just very important that you do that. Okay, something else, my guideline is, if you're doing anything on Facebook right now, okay, if you are doing any kind of advertising on Facebook, essentially think like this: don't do anything on YouTube that you wouldn't do on Facebook. Okay, so if you're not advertising on Facebook, don't worry, this doesn't concern you. But for those of you that are going through this training and you have had some experience with Facebook, it's pretty safe to say this, right? Just whatever you wouldn't do on Facebook, don't do it on YouTube. Okay, simple as that, right? Just worth keeping that in mind. Like, if there's something that Facebook are very open and just very open about the fact that they don't like you doing a certain thing as an advertiser, it would be a very, very safe thing to do to say, okay, well, I won't do that over on YouTube as well. Okay, so just keep that in mind, right? And finally, YouTube focus on the first page in your sales funnel or your sales process. This is really helpful to know, because some of you might be thinking, oh my gosh, have I got to go through and meticulously go through every page in my sales process, a sales funnel, make sure I've, again, best practice would be, why not make sure that every page is compliant, just to be super, super safe. But this is really the one that YouTube has got Sauron's eye on, right? Like when you're running your traffic, the immediate next page, right, where you are driving your traffic from YouTube, that's the one they care about. That's the one where they are really making a point of checking that it's compliant. And then as you go through the rest of your funnel, so for example, if this was a webinar registration funnel, the registration page for the webinar is going to get all the attention, and the confirmation page and the replay page and the order page, all that kind of stuff, that's going to kind of go under the radar. Okay, but what I want you to keep in mind is, now imagine you wanted to start doing some remarketing. So, let's say this was one of your sales funnels and you started running some traffic, and now you want to run a remarketing ad. So you want to follow up with someone who hit this step and get them to move forward. Well, you've got to remember, if that's the page that you're running your ad from, that's the one that's getting Google's attention. Okay, so just got to keep that in mind. It doesn't really matter what page it is in the funnel. Okay, what matters is, what is the link that you are linking out to from your YouTube ad. When someone's watching your YouTube ad, when they click on that YouTube ad, where are they going? That's your landing page. Okay, so your landing page is not always the first page in your funnel. Okay, it's whatever you're directing your YouTube traffic to. Okay, so in summary of this lesson, firstly, please read YouTube and Google's advertising guidelines. I'll leave a link below this video. Keep in mind that when you first create your first ad and you're just starting to kind of build up your Google ad account, play it really, really, really safe, and then start to loosen up a little bit over time. Have disclaimer bars and disclaimer links, at the bottom of your pages. A good rule of thumb is, don't do anything you wouldn't do on Facebook. And just keep in mind that YouTube focus on the first page in your sales funnel and your sales process. That's the one to prioritize getting, really spot on and getting it right. Okay, and that is whatever page you're directing your traffic to. Okay, so with that concludes this lesson. I hope that was helpful for you. I know that's not the most exciting of lessons, but it is one of the most important things. So please have taken notes and all that stuff and implement it when it comes time to run your ads. So got a few more things to share with you in this module. It's going to be really cool. I'll see you in the next lesson. All right. Cool. All right, so how was that? Again, obviously, leave your questions until the very end. But let me know. Did that all make sense? Was that all okay? Does that scare any of you, or do you just feel pretty good about that? You're like, yep, cool. I'll just play by their rules and we'll move forward. How do you feel from that? Cool. Derek says excellent. Christy says excellent and important. Chase says Sauron's eye was a good analogy. Okay, cool. Okay, yes, all good. Yeah, that was brilliant. Great information. Makes a lot of sense. Good, very good. Ant says, is copying someone's privacy a problem? You want to edit it slightly. You know what I mean? Like, don't just copy someone's privacy policy word for word. Yes, and I see your follow-up question. You said, what if they have it wrong? Yeah, that's where, you might want to address, you might want to get in touch with a lawyer, or someone who understands internet law, and just kind of get the right thing said. For me, I've just found templates from people that I know and trust, and I've just kind of reworded them slightly, So yeah, you're just gonna have to you do your own due diligence on that. But even if you copied someone that they've got it right, it's still, you're gonna want to go ahead and reword it and put it in your own words. Okay, cool. All right, nice. So I'm just gonna take a quick sip of water because I'm losing my voice here a little bit. So give me just a second, and then we'll get into this next one. All right, here we go. Hey everyone, it's John Pempathy here, and welcome back to lesson 4. And this is where we're going to be talking about the landing page software, right? This is going to actually be a really, really quick and simple lesson. And so we're going to dive straight into this. This will literally just be just a few minutes. This is basically my spot where I want to just highly suggest that you invest in a landing page software. So for example, this page here that I've created, this was with a software called ClickFunnels. It's one of the most popular, one of the most well-known landing page / funnel building softwares. And you kind of got to get one, like when people ask that question when they're coming into a training program like this, like what else do I need to invest in? This is really like one of those things that you just got to get, you know what I mean? If you want to keep your advertising high value, you want your pages to look beautiful, you want to have good page loading speeds, you want to do all that kind of stuff, you kind of get what you pay for, so if you go online and find a free website builder, then you're gonna get a free result. You know what I mean? Like you're getting a page builder that's not being funded, so you're not going to get that many features. Like, you get what you pay for. So, for me, I practice what I preach. I spend a lot of money on different software tools that I use in my business on a daily basis, and one of the main ones is ClickFunnels. Although I have accounts to all of these, so these are my 3 main recommendations for you, just in case you need to be pointed in the right direction. The one option is what I've just talked about there, is ClickFunnels. Another is called Kartra. I've been playing around with Kartra recently, and I kind of like it. There's some cool stuff happening over there. Then there's one called Lead Pages, which is has less features, but it is a little bit cheaper. So kind of do with that what you will. So worth going in and exploring each of those and just seeing what's the best fit for you, or maybe you'll go out there and find something else. But for me, ClickFunnels is the long-standing winner for me. We're experimenting with Kartra, so you may see me out there online with links to Kartra pages and whatnot, and that's just because we're testing that and experimenting with that. But still, ClickFunnels is our default. and we absolutely love it. I mean, if I just took a screenshot from the inside of my ClickFunnels account, and you can see right now I currently have, at the time of taking this screenshot, excuse me, I currently have 394 funnels, right? 2,255 pages, and just a ton of people coming to these pages. I mean, we've done a lot of stuff in here. We've played around with it. ClickFunnels is just great. I love it. You can design a beautiful page in like under 5 or 10 minutes once you know your way around. It really is cool. And what I've done is I've put together a free bonus for all of you, okay? Regardless of whether you have a ClickFunnels account through me or not, that's completely irrelevant. What I've decided to do is I originally put this bonus together for people that sign up for ClickFunnels via my affiliate link, which you can find below this video. Directly below here is a link to my affiliate link. It will give you a free trial to ClickFunnels. You can try it out for 2 weeks and play around with it and get your head around it. And I decided to create this bonus called Attract and Convert. It's a 14 video training where I basically take you through how to use ClickFunnels, all the best ways to work it. I give you like demos of how to build pages and make them look beautiful and all this great stuff. And like I say, this was originally a bonus for signing up through ClickFunnels through my affiliate account. But what I've decided to do is include that as a bonus in this course as well, regardless of whether you got ClickFunnels through me or not, just as a goodwill gesture to kind of get you on your way. Okay, so you can get in touch with my support team to get access to this. Just let them know and say, I'd love to check out the Attract and Convert, and they'll give you access to it. If you don't have ClickFunnels already, I would appreciate you going through my affiliate link. That would be awesome. I'll leave that below this video. And like I said, that can be your goodwill gesture back in return for this extra little training here. But regardless, I want you to go through this. So get in touch with us if you're using ClickFunnels. And it's just a way for me to go ahead and just give you that extra training. And you can see the titles of the videos here. I basically just go into a ton of different stuff about how to produce these beautiful landing pages, specifically using ClickFunnels. And I also go into a lesson here, which is really cool, about what Russell Brunson taught me for 25 grand. He's the creator and founder of ClickFunnels, and I joined his $25,000 coaching program. And I learned some pretty cool stuff from him during that time, and I just included that in video 4 there. So hope you enjoy that, hope you utilize it and go through that, and hopefully that gets you on your way to creating these beautiful landing pages with a software like ClickFunnels and with my help. So that's pretty much it. My affiliate link to get a free trial is below if you do want to use that. But regardless, get in touch with my team and ask for the Attract and Convert training, and we'll happily give you access to that for being a Tube Ads Academy member. All right, appreciate you, and I'll see you in the next lesson where we've got some really cool stuff coming up. All right, nice. Okay, so Linda says, wow, 394 funnels. Yep. Ann Jackson says, how many more modules will we be recording today? I've got 2 more lessons, one big lesson and then a homework and conclusion lesson. So we've probably got maybe another 30 minutes left, and then we'll go into Q&A. Patrick says, wow, thanks for that bonus. You're very welcome. Paul says, thanks. Deborah says, thanks, John. Appreciate that bonus. Cool. Someone says, do you want to give us that? Christy says, do you want to give us that link now or post it later? I'll put it in the chat box, actually. If you would like to use that, that would be awesome. I'll send that to you right now. marketer.com/. I think this is the right link. I'm just going to check that does work. Let's have a look. Bingo, it does. Okay, cool. All right, so let me just pull the slides back up here, and then I'll just paste that link in the chat box. So Christy, appreciate that. That's awesome. Like I said in the lesson there, this was something I put together for people who, it's kind of like when I was wanting to promote ClickFunnels, as an affiliate and go quite hard on that. I decided I wanted to really put some effort behind that promotion, and so I put together that bonus training, Attract and Convert. And I go into some really cool stuff in there and just kind of walk you through the software and how to use it and best practices and all that kind of stuff. And usually I just leave that as an exclusive bonus for going through my affiliate link. But for you guys, I know there's a ton of you on the call here and in this program that you probably already have it. In fact, I'm just curious, how many of you already have ClickFunnels? Just give me a yes. Give me a yes if you already have ClickFunnels, and give me a no if you don't have ClickFunnels already. So give me a no if you don't already. Okay, cool. So it's a mixture. So a bunch of you saying yes, and some of you saying no. So for those of you that said yes, obviously you would be excluded from getting that bonus, and I didn't want that to be the case. So if you've already got it, then just get in touch with my team, and we'll give that to you as well. So that's no trouble at all. All right, cool. So let's get into the next one, and we've pretty much just got this last main module here. Last main lesson, and then we'll get into some Q&A, and we'll go for as long as is needed, as long as we answer all of your questions. So here we go. Hey everyone, so welcome back to lesson 5 in this module. This is how to write killer copy. Copy being your headline, bullet points, and other things that are going on the page. This is actually going to be one of my favorite lessons in this entire module, maybe even this entire course. This is the stuff that I'm going to teach you in this lesson right here, right now, is probably some of the most profitable lessons that I've learned, right? When it comes to being profitable in my business, when it comes to getting results, when it comes to leading someone to perform an action like opting in or buying something, the stuff that I'm going to teach you in this lesson, when you truly understand it and grasp it, will change everything for you. Not just your ability to write copy, not just your ability to write headlines, but will literally change the course of how you market your business moving forward. So for some of you that have maybe been through some of my other programs in the past, I apologize in advance because some of this stuff will be repeated. You may have heard of some of this stuff because there are certain exercises and processes that I need you to understand. And so I'm going to take you through that again in this course. So I apologize for my previous students that maybe have heard some of this stuff before, but for those of you, it will just be a good refresher. But nonetheless, this is so important, this stuff. And when you grasp it, it will transform your ability to be profitable in your advertising. So let's get straight into this, right? A good looking page, a good looking landing page is only half the battle. So if you get ClickFunnels, or if you get any other landing page software that has templates and makes it look beautiful and all that great stuff, well, fantastic. But here's the number one thing that will contribute to a high opt-in rate. We've talked about it before, right? It's the headline, right? How do you put these headlines together that get results? How do you have someone come to a landing page and decide that they want to opt in, or decide that they want to perform the action that you're wanting, or decide that they want to purchase that product? It's usually the words on the page, right? It's what's drawing them in. And there's some really important stuff that I'm going to teach you here that will help you not just understand this side of things, but be able to implement it yourself and put together great headlines that grab attention and cause someone to want to move forward and perform the next action. Okay, so the first step to winning copy, and again, when I address the word copy, I'm talking about the words on your landing page. Okay, and this can, again, like I said, this will play a part in pretty much anything that you do online. It can be the words on your landing page, but also the words in your sales videos, the words in your YouTube ads. We're going to talk about more of this when we get into next week, when it comes to actually creating the video ads themselves. Okay, it is truly understanding the audience. Okay, and I'm going to dig into this quite heavily, and it's going to make a lot of sense to you as we do so. But understanding the audience, this will transform everything. This kind of takes you from making assumptions about what you think your audience want, or just talking very just using blanket statements to talk about your business or your products or your services, to actually giving people what they want because you understand them on a deeper level. And this stuff's really cool. So here's the first thing that you need to do. Okay, and this is really important. You need to get a piece of paper and you need to draw a line down the middle and a line along the top, and you need to have pain points and desired outcomes, right? And what you're going to be doing here is on the left hand side, underneath pain points, I want you to write down as many pain points of your audience or your industry as you can possibly think of, right? And the same thing with desired outcomes. I truly believe this, and it plays out in my business every single day. When I'm going out there and I'm marketing my business and I'm marketing my products and my services, I'm not selling the product or service. I'm selling the pain points and I'm selling the desired outcomes. We're going to talk a bit more about facts and features versus benefits and results a little bit later on here too. But when you truly understand the pains of your audience and why they want to see change, when you truly understand their desires, like why do they want that change, like what is motivating them to see that change, like what is going to make them happy, what's going to put a smile on their face, what's going to make their life easier, when you understand this stuff, this will start to come naturally to you. Like right now, when I create a new YouTube advertisement, I don't really even have to script the video. And when I'm putting a landing page together, I don't really have to give it that much thought, because this stuff's just embedded into my brain. Everything I say and do in my sales funnels and in my YouTube videos is about addressing pain points and desired outcomes. That's why when you came into this program, you may well have come in because I was doing this very thing to you. Okay, I was probably addressing your pain points and I was addressing your desired outcomes. And I'll give you a very real example so that you can see how I sold you into this very program, right? I would have been addressing things like, your pain points are, look, are you a business owner and you've got your product, you've got your service that you're excited about, but no one's seeing it, right? You're trying desperately to get out there and share your website with the world and put your sales funnel out there, but no one's seeing it. Not only that, but you're trying to run advertisements on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube, and you're spending money and you're getting nothing in return, and you want to pull your hair out. And even if you do start to get a little bit of result from those ads, then the technology starts to fail you, and then that screws it up, and you feel like you're running in this hamster wheel and not getting anywhere, and now you've got your spouse breathing down your neck saying this isn't going to work, you need to pack it in, and boom, 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 boom. I'm just going to go, and I'm going to go, and I'm going to speak to all of the pains that you have, and then I'm going to say, and are you in a spot right now where you just need to start making these sales in your business? That you've got a message that would impact the world, that will help people and serve people, and you want to get that out to people, right? But you don't just want to get it out there, you want to get it out there profitably, and you want to get it out there consistently. Well, that's what I'm going to show you how to do with YouTube advertising. I'm going to show you how you can put your business out there for people to see. I'm going to show you how you can use YouTube as a consistent and dependable traffic strategy, right? So that you can go out there and every single day, from the moment that you wake up, you just know without a shadow of a doubt, you're going to have customers for the day, because YouTube is out there churning away, finding those people for you, sending them to your website, and your automated sales funnel is converting them into a sale, right? That's what's going to give you the freedom back in your life. That's what's going to give you the time freedom back. And that's what's going to give you the lifestyle that you've been wanting and the ability to impact the people that you want to impact. Right? If that sounds like you, then I've got this program called Tube Ads Academy, and I'm going to show you all of that. I'm going to break it down. It's going to be wonderful, right? Like, that is just me off the top of my head. Okay, I do this stuff like day in, day out. I just know this. Like, you can see from that off the cuff example, like it's just embedded in my brain. I speak in pain points and I speak in desired outcomes. And that will come out in my video ads, that will come out in my YouTube ads, that will come out in the way that I write the copy on my landing pages, and everything else in my business and in my sales funnels. Okay, and I really hope that you're starting to understand this already. And let's go a little bit deeper. So what you're going to do is, down this sheet, you're first going to start writing the obvious pain points. So let's say, for example, let's say I always use this example, so I'll just use it again. Let's say you sell a dog training program, right? So you teach people how to get their dog under control. Okay, so the pain point is that, right, well, their dog is out of control, right? Their dog won't sit, their dog won't do what it's told. Okay, and all these other obvious, broad pain points that would just be kind of common sense. But now what we do is we dig a bit deeper. We say, man, surely there's there's a deeper thing going on here. And we spend a bit of time thinking through, what could that be? And so for someone who's got a dog out of control, right, I'm thinking about things like this. I'm thinking, look, maybe it's, if their dog is pulling on the leash, right? If their dog is pulling them around in the park, their pain is not that their wrist is hurting because the dog keeps pulling on the lead. Okay. The pain is the embarrassment of other dog walkers looking over and seeing them, and the fact that they can't control their own dog. It's that embarrassment that comes, right? Maybe there's more pain in the fact that there is causing conflict between them and their spouse, right? Because they're arguing about the dog. Maybe the kids, you're having trouble with the kids because the kids don't like the dog because it's tearing up the house, but you want to keep it. Then there's arguments happening in the house. Maybe you're having to spend loads of money to keep keep changing the furniture in the house because the dog is ripping up the carpet, or ripping up the sofa. And it was, now you're starting to really get a big list of things that are pain points for the market, right? And pain points for people who are that you're trying to target. Okay, now likewise, you're going to do the same for desired outcomes. So you're going to write down all the desired outcomes that you can possibly think of, and in most cases they're going to be the opposite to the pain points, right? But you might be able to find a few extra ones. So you want to write down all the desired outcomes, right? A loving relationship with their spouse, instead of arguing about the dog, right? Having a calm, clean house, right? Not feeling embarrassed out in public, right? Being, just all this kind of stuff, feeling affection from the dog, like all of this stuff is what you want to write down in desired outcomes. And you want to fill this page. Like every time I run a new YouTube ad, or I'm building a new landing page, I first write down, I fill a full page of who is it that I'm targeting, and what are their pains and what are their desired outcomes. And I'm going to fill an entire page, with this exercise. Okay, so that's the first thing. Okay, the next thing, but still technically step one, is figuring out where your audience sits in the 5 levels of market sophistication. Okay, it's really interesting, this stuff, and when you start to grasp this, it kind of changes everything. When you're going out there and you're targeting people with your YouTube ads and trying to promote your business, you're not speaking to everyone in the same way, right? People who are looking to lose weight, right? People who are looking to lose weight, that's not just one generic audience. Okay, you don't go out there with one message in your YouTube ad for people that want to lose weight. There are people at different stages of that journey. Okay, and we call it the 5 levels of market sophistication. I'm going to take you through them here just real quick, and hopefully this will make sense to you as we go through. So number 5, the top level, is they are unaware of the problem or the solution. Okay, so let's use the weight loss example. Number 5 would be someone who is technically overweight, but they don't even realize. Okay, they've not even they're not actively looking for a solution to a problem. They don't even know that they've got a problem. Okay, so the conversation you'd have with that person is very different than someone at stage number 4. Okay, you would have to have a very different conversation with them, because you can't go out there with a message that says, hey, are you looking to lose weight? I'll show you how to do it. Because they're going, no, I'm not looking to lose weight. I don't have a problem. Okay, so you would waste your advertising dollars going after people like that with a message like, hey, I'll show you how to lose weight, because they don't even know that they have a problem. So they definitely don't need or have an interest in your solution. Okay, next is number 4. Number 4 is aware of their problem, but not the solution. Okay, so this would be that they are that they're aware of their need to lose weight, right? But they don't know how to solve that problem. They haven't looked into it enough, right? They've tried to find a solution before and it hasn't worked, so they've given up on looking for solutions. So they know that they're overweight, but they're not actively looking for a solution, nor do they know what the solution will actually be. Okay. Number 3 is they are problem and solution aware, but not of your product. Okay. So they understand that they need to lose weight. They understand what the solution is, which is finding a good diet plan, the right one for them. It's finding the good workout plan, the right one for them. Maybe a community and some accountability and all this, and an eating plan, all this kind of stuff. They know what the problem is, and they know what really the solution is, but they don't know what your product is. They haven't heard of you yet. Maybe they've tried other things and it hasn't worked, and they're actively looking for another solution, but they just haven't heard of you. Okay. Then you've got number 2, which is aware of your product but not sold, which means they've heard of you before, they've seen some of your ads before, and so they're aware of the problem and the solution, and they're aware of your product, but they're not sold yet. So the conversation that we'd have with a number 2 is very different, because the conversation is, hey, it's John Pemberthy here again, and chances are you've seen my program, you've seen the results we've got for other students, and you don't quite think it's right for you just yet. So let me share a bit more information with you that maybe will help you make that decision. Okay, that would be the conversation you'd have with that kind of person. And then you've got number 1. And number 1 is someone who just says, I just need the deal, right? Just tell me what it is. Like, and I have these people in my market, people who have seen my stuff, they've seen my product, and they just go, John, I want to give you money. What have you got? Let me into the program. It happened with this very program, Two Bads Academy. We had many people that just literally sent me a message and said, John, love your stuff. I hear you've got a YouTube program. Send me a link. I want to buy it. Right? They're your hottest leads, because they already know that you're the real deal, and they just want the deal. Like, just give it to me. Tell me where I can buy. Okay. And again, if we were going to remarket to those people with a YouTube ad, the conversation will be very different. Right? So here's what I want you to think about. Number 5, because a question you might have at this point is, you might be saying, John, this sounds great, but now you've just left me even more confused, because I don't know who I should be advertising to. Am I advertising to a number 5, 4, 3, 2, or 1? Okay, so I'm going to give you the guideline right now. Number 5, don't bother with talking to those people. Okay, we are not interested in trying to create YouTube advertisements that have to explain the problem and try and say to someone, that the way that a fitness ad would look if you were trying to speak to someone at a number 5 who's completely unaware of their problem. You'd have to be saying things like, hey, it's John Pemberthy here, and listen, if you recently have been starting to feel out of breath when you run, and if you are noticing that other people can get up a set of stairs slightly quicker than you, or if you you'd have to start having a conversation like that. Right? And so you are way further away from the possibility of making a sale at that point. And so we're not interested in having to teach someone that they've got a problem. If they've got a dog that's out of control but they just don't realize it, again, I'm not interested in putting out a video ad that says, hey, have you noticed that in the park some people actually their dog don't pull on the leash and yours do, and maybe you just thought that was normal, but actually it's not, and here's why. And look, we're not having that conversation. Okay, you're going to waste your advertising dollars doing that. So the people that we want to speak to is a number 4 and a number 3. Okay, so write that down. Maybe even take a screenshot of this slide right now. We want to advertise with our YouTube ads as you go through this course. The way that we are communicating with the market is having a conversation that fits into 3 or 4. So they're aware of their problem. Excuse me. They're aware of their problem, but not the solution, and they're problem or solution aware, but not of your product. So with these 2 people, we can now have, the conversation of, hey, it's John Pemberthy here, and chances are, you've been trying, to lose weight and to get in shape, and you've tried this program, you've tried that, and it hasn't worked. And I'd love to share with you what I've got going on, which I believe is different, and it's really going to finally get you the results you've been looking for. I'd love you to come and check it out, and blah, 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 right? So we're having that kind of conversation. That's really where you guys want to play. It's between 3 and 4. Okay, that is where we're going out to on the YouTube platform, and that's going to be the biggest area of the market, which is going to be the easiest to approach with a good ad. Okay, now number 2 and number 1, this is what you're going to be using for your remarketing ads. Okay. So when you start running some YouTube ads with a message about number 3 or 4, now people that interact with those ads, or maybe do click on the links and come into your, your sales funnel, but maybe they don't purchase. Okay. Well, later on in this training program, I'm going to teach you about retargeting. And in retargeting and remarketing, I'm going to show you then how you can follow up with those people and promote to them. And naturally, the people that interact with your ads and interact with your sales funnels, they were a 3 or a 4, but now they're either a 1 or a 2, because you've successfully promoted yourself to them when they were a 3 or a 4, again, meaning they were aware of their problem, maybe even aware of a solution, but they didn't know who you were. But now they've come into your sales funnel and they've watched your YouTube ads. Now they do know who you are, but they're not sold on you yet. Right? Maybe they've heard about your product in the sales funnel, but they're not sold on you yet, or they are and they just don't know where to purchase. So 1 and 2 is going to be your remarketing and your retargeting, and that's going to come later on. What we're initially going to get started with is having these kinds of conversations in our YouTube ads, number 3 and 4. And number 5, we're not going to worry about. It's just not going to be something that we're going to entertain ourselves with. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense to you. And if you do have any questions on that, please do get in touch with us. Send us an email or meet us in the Facebook group. But hopefully that all makes sense. So now moving on to the second thing, I want you to understand this. Ultimately, why do people buy stuff, right? Why do people actually spend money, their hard-earned money? Why do they do that? Well, it's not because of the product itself, okay? They're not buying the product. What they're buying is the feeling, the result, or the benefit that it gives, okay? And I'm kind of going to prove this to you as we go through, and then I'm going to explain what all this even has to do with the title of this lesson, which is how to write killer copy, okay? Well, we're getting to it because all of this plays a big part. Let's look at some examples, right? And I'm going to go through this as quickly as I can. But let's say, for example, someone's in the business of like drilling a hole, right? What they're not doing is they're not looking, to buy the drill. They don't want the drill. They don't care if it's yellow, red, blue, or green. They don't care if it's got 20 settings or 30 settings. They don't care how the battery. What they care about is the hole. Is it going to give them the perfect hole? If it is, that's the drill that they want. Okay. Likewise, if someone's in the business of mowing their lawn, okay, they're not looking for the perfect lawnmower. They don't care if it's got 3 wheels, 4, 5, or 10. They don't care if it's green, red, yellow, blue. They really couldn't care less. What they care about is the result. Is it going to get them that perfect lawn, and is it going to do it easier and more efficiently and quicker and all that good stuff? That's what they're looking for, the speed of the result that they're getting and how good the outcome is going to be as well, right? Likewise, someone is not interested in quote unquote learning how to train their dog. That doesn't sound interesting, right? Having to slave away for hours trying to train their dog is not going to be what they want. So we're not going to go out there in the marketplace and start writing headlines and recording videos that are talking about, hey, I'm going to give you access to a 20-hour training where you can learn how to train your dog. That's not going to be an enticing way to get someone in that program. What we're going to do is we're going to speak to what they do want, which is they want a dog that will clean up its own poop, right? Ultimately, they want a dog that will scoop up its own poop and happy days. That's what they're after. So we're going to speak to that benefit, right? Likewise, people don't want marriage counseling, okay? They want the result. They want to be back in a loving relationship with them understanding each other, okay? And for you guys that are selling, hair and beauty products, look, they don't want the new latest bottle, different color, different size. Don't care. What they want is the lovely, beautiful, flowing, glossy hair, right? That's what they want. Think of Nike, right? Think how they do it. They're selling trainers, okay? They're not selling you on the look and the feel, although that can be a part of it sometimes. But ultimately, if I type in Nike advert into YouTube, one of the first ones that came up for me was Nike Find Your Greatness, right? Playing on this idea that, look, if you wear our product, if you wear our shoes, you're invincible. You can do anything. You can conquer the world. You can conquer your dreams. You can do this, do that, do this, do that, right? It's all about the feeling that you get when you slip those trainers on and you go for a run, right? They're all playing on the feeling, okay? Same with weight loss, right? We're not saying about how hard it's going to be to work out and how hard it's going to be to eat the right foods, because that's not what's going to sell the product. What they want is that confidence back, right? They want the confidence boost. They want the energy. They want to look in the mirror and feel good about themselves. Like, that's what they want. So that's what we've got to speak to. Okay, everything is about the benefits of what you got. So your headlines, and any of the copy on your landing pages should be speaking to their desires and their pain points, and that ultimately in turn comes around to the benefits. So when we're crafting our headlines and we're crafting our copy, and even when we're planning what we're saying in the videos themselves, everything leads to pain points, desired outcomes, and ultimately the benefit, okay, of what they're getting. So here's some kind of practical examples. So you might be selling how to stop the dog pulling on the leash, but your message, your headline, the way that you're approaching that visitor is by playing on not feeling embarrassed in public, right? Just going out there with a headline that is utilizing this, not going out there and just saying opt in for this free PDF where I'm going to show you how you can finally have your dog, stop pulling on the leash and have a peaceful walk in the park from now on, right? Which one's going to win, that or one that says free ebook reveals how you can finally eliminate the embarrassment in public of your dog pulling on the leash and have every other dog walker, jealously looking at how under control your dog is. Obviously we could fine tune that and make it a little bit better, right? But you kind of get the idea, right? Hopefully you're seeing what I'm trying to, the picture I'm painting here for you. So you might sell how to run successful Facebook ads, but your message, your headline is all about having a dependable stream of customers. Okay. You might be selling how to run your own accounting. Okay, but your message is about saving huge amounts in tax savings or tax benefits. Okay, you might be selling hair products, but your message, your headline is all about getting that beautiful hair that they want. Okay, you might be selling the right exercises and workout routines, but your message, your headline is all about getting the big biceps or the flat stomach and the confidence. Okay, so hopefully you understand that. Now, third, with all of that in mind, everything that I've shown you up until this point, the pain points, desired outcomes, the 5 levels of market sophistication, and the fact that it's the benefits that is going to get the result, with all that in mind, keep the copy on your landing pages simple, clean, and to the point. Okay, what we're ultimately going to be trying to do is take everything that I've just taught you and let that feed into creating the most perfect headline imaginable. Okay, so if you look at these pages, you can see how clean and simple they are, right? These are examples of webinar registration pages. Okay, we've got a ton of other stuff we do with lead magnets and coaching calls and all this other kind of stuff, and we could do e-com examples and whatnot. But just using this example here, look how clean this is. It's just a headline, the subheadline, and some accompanying copy, some bullet points. Okay, so keep it clean. Now, I want to teach you how you can bring all of this into fruition and how you can bring it, into a headline. So I want to teach you the world's simplest and most effective headline formula. And it really is as simple as this. So write this down: how to insert desired outcome without insert pain point. Okay, so when you've got your list of pain points and desired outcomes, you're basically just going to fill in the blanks and then tidy it up and make it sound good. Okay, so how to insert desired outcome without pain point. So, mine could be, for this YouTube course, might be something like how to finally start attracting your most ideal customers without ever having to risk any of your own money on advertising, right? That's a pain point. Pain point is the idea that they might lose some money. The desired outcome is to finally have a dependable stream of customers. If it was, weight loss, how to finally get that flat stomach you've always wanted without having to slave away in the gym for hours every day. Okay, or if you're selling physical products, guys, if any of you are doing e-commerce and you're wondering how this applies to selling something physical on a Shopify store, for example, same thing applies. Okay, but just change the how to whatever opening statement would make sense. If you're selling a hairbrush, right? I mean, I'm going to murder this example because I have no idea about what you want when it comes to hairbrushes, right? But you're going to get the idea with this example. Something like, finally, a brush that will. Yeah, I'm going to screw this up. But like something along those lines of just like, finally, a hairbrush that just does exactly what it's supposed to do, gives you the perfect, brush, whatever it is, without getting all the knots and all that kind of stuff, blah, 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 right? I knew that example wasn't going to go very well. I have no idea why I decided to go with a hairbrush example, but you get the idea. Okay, what is that physical item that you're selling, and what is the desired outcome that the person wants? If you're selling a cooking utensil, right? What does that chef or what does that person cooking at home, what outcome do they want, and what problem is that cooking utensil going to solve? And then insert that as a desired outcome, and then insert a pain point that they might have with another cooking utensil that this new one replaces, right? I should have just gone with that example rather than the hairbrush. But anyway, we're going to move on. So that's the first and easiest headline example to go with. Okay, and then we've got we've got a few more examples that I want to take you through, just so that you've got a few things to play with. And I want you to understand something. These are guidelines for your headlines. Okay, this isn't like a rule of thumb that anything that you any landing page you're putting together has to fit into one of these formulas. That's not the case. What I've done is I've put together a few examples for you so that you can be kind of like getting on your way as quickly as possible. But once you truly understand the stuff that I have delivered in this lesson so far, and I really hope you go back over it again and again and again to embed this in your head, this will come naturally, and you'll start writing headlines and you won't even realize how you've got there. But it's just, you understand your market, you understand your audience, you understand their pains and their desires, you understand where they're at and what they're struggling with, that writing headlines becomes second nature. So some other examples might be just quite simply how to desired outcome, just insert the desired outcome. The one that we've just done, how to desired outcome without pain point. Another one could be a double desired outcome, how to finally get that dependable stream of customers into your business and do it and do it cheaper than you've ever experienced before with any other advertising platform. So that was how to desired outcome and another desired outcome. Okay, maybe the problem and a solution. So this one works quite well. I've used this one before. You highlight the problem and then you highlight that you have the solution. So I've used this in the past with one of our Facebook trainings. I've said something like free video reveals the number one biggest mistake that most marketers are making with their Facebook ads, and how to fix it with 3 simple steps. Right? So identifying the problem and then the solution. Okay, so again, play with that, have some fun with it, use this as a template, and this will help you moving forward to write some killer copy. But I want you to notice something, that the majority of this lesson hasn't been about putting text on a page, because that's not what goes into good copy. Good copywriting and good headline writing is not, and I repeat, is not just being good with grammar and being good with spelling and knowing how, and not, that's not good copy. Good copywriting and good copywriters, and you getting great results with copy, is understanding the audience. Who are they? What are they struggling with? What are their pain points? Put yourself in their shoes. What would entice them to move forward? Are we going to focus on the facts and the features of what you got? No, we're going to focus on the benefits. We're going to make that the driver for them wanting to opt into our landing page, or to move forward with our sales process, or to schedule that call, or to purchase that product on your Shopify store. Whatever it is, we're using benefits, pains, desire. We're using all of that stuff, everything that comes under the umbrella of understanding our audience. That is what's going to move us forward. And then we put pen to paper, or we type away on the keys, and we put words on a page once we've understood all of that stuff. Okay, this, you probably don't realize right now how big of a lesson this actually was. If you do, you've probably got a big smile on your face. If you don't, once you go through this a few times, and you look back 6 months from now, you'll realize how important this lesson was that we've just gone through, and we've still got a little bit more to go. Okay, so next up, right, we've talked a bit about headlines. Well, now think of the bullet points, and when I say bullet points, I'm also talking about any other pieces of supporting copy on the page. If that's an about you section, or whatever it may be. In this example, we're using bullet points. But like I say, it's just anything else. Once you've got a clean landing page, you've got your headline, and you've got a bit more information down the page, I want you to think of the bullet points as mini headlines. Okay, and their purpose is to support the main headline. Okay, we talked a little bit about this in an earlier video, but now with that context set of the training in this section and in this video about understanding the audience, once you start writing these headlines, and you start writing from that place of understanding the audience, then these bullet points, you will now realize the power of them, right? Because you're going to write a great headline, and now you're going to have 4 other chances, or 3, or an about you section, whatever it is, but you're going to be writing from a place of kind of treating it like mini headlines, like these little bullets, these little hits of, I understand you, right? I get your pains. I understand your desires and what you're looking to achieve. Like, I know what you're going through. Like, you're writing from that place now. You haven't got a bullet point that says, I'm going to show you how the YouTube ads dashboard works. No one cares about that, right? You're going to say, I'm going to show you how you can get cheaper traffic on YouTube than you've ever experienced before. I'm going to show you how you can stop wasting so much money on other advertising platforms and finally see success on YouTube. Right, I'm going to show you how you can create a video ad quicker and easier than you ever thought possible and have that flooding your business with new customers. Right? Boom, 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 boom. Just these hits of goodness that's making them go, dang it, I really want what this person is talking about. Right? Not, I sell I sell a bottle of water. Are you thirsty? Do you know what I mean? It's like, you've got to understand this stuff, okay? And it's supporting the headline, all right? So, and then we just kind of got a close up here of the bullet points. But I think we kind of get the idea. In fact, maybe I'll just spend a bit of time here before we move on from this lesson, just explaining why I chose these bullet points even for this headline. So the headline was how I've been using simple YouTube ads to get my business in front of millions of people and generate highly targeted leads for as low as 15 pence each. So it's a pretty good headline. It did really well for us. This page actually converted at around about 40% to cold traffic. So it was pretty darn good. And then if that hasn't done the trick and they haven't opted in, these are my bullet points. Getting more specific now, doubling down on just the benefit of coming in and accessing this training. So part one, why most people are neglecting the YouTube platform and how you can capitalize on this oversight and dominate this $4 billion platform. Right. Part two is how to use YouTube's advanced targeting to zero in on your perfect customers and only show your ads to the people that are most likely to buy your stuff. Part three, how just one simple video ad can have you cleaning up your industry and siphoning all the best customers to your digital front door. And part four, how to go from a tiny test budget to ad campaigns that can spend as much as $5,000 a day and remain profitable, right? Tons of high level benefit driven statements. Okay. Another example would be this one here. This is for our webinar course. If the headline doesn't do the trick, bullet point number one is how I generated over 2.1 million in the past 24 months with the charm webinar approach. They're going, man, that's awesome. And what the flip is a charm webinar? I want to come and figure what that out. All right. Number two, how and why the charm webinar will become the most valuable and profitable part of your business. Really? Right. Well, I've got to show up to see why that's the case. Number three, how to use webinars to build a loyal following and a massive email list for free. Dang, that sounds good, right? Number four, how to put your webinars on complete autopilot and simultaneously run hundreds of webinars a month. Like these are just, you're seeing it now, right? You're understanding it, you're following along. And obviously, this is all relating to the marketing space because I run a marketing education company, but you've just got to now, spend some time thinking about your industry, what you sell, what you do. How can you bring this in to what it is that you do, okay? And hopefully this is giving you some ideas. Okay, so that's the end of this lesson. I know we spent quite a long time with that, a bit longer than I thought, but I didn't want to rush that lesson because it's so important. And hopefully you got it and light bulbs were going off, and it's going to transform the way you build your landing pages, write your headlines, and even produce your YouTube ads, right? You're going to get a bit of a head start on next week when we start talking about the videos themselves. Okay, so I've got one more thing I want to share with you in the next lesson, and I'll see you there. All right, boom. We're almost there. I'm just reading some of your comments. Deborah says, great teaching, simple and to the point. Awesome. Alex, you joker. Good stuff. All right, cool. Christopher says, already thinking of my pain points list. Hey, was that helpful? Do you guys let me know in the questions box? You still awake? You still good? I know we've been going for well over 2 hours now. This is the final thing. I'm just going to do the homework and then I'll come and chat to you for as long as you need, answer as many questions as you got. But let me know if this is good stuff, right? Is this helping you? Let me know. Valerie says, liking this big time. Miranda says, yes. Gal says, it was awesome. Christopher says, yep, best so far. Awesome. Deborah says, brilliant. Ross says, very helpful. Susan says, great content. Great, says Patrick. Gull says, I want your webinar course. Awesome, dude. Yeah, get in touch with us. Send us an email and we can definitely hook you up with that. Liam says, yes, awesome. David says, great. Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate that. And it's really cool. and it's really cool to hear the results and the benefit that you guys are getting. So got this final thing, and then I'll answer any and all questions that you've got. So this will take just a couple minutes, and then I'll be right back with you. So here we go. Hey everyone, it's John Pempathy here again for the final time in this module 2. This was lesson 6. This is lesson 6 now, and this is the conclusion and the homework. I firstly want to thank you for getting through this much of the training so far. I know it's only module 2, and I know I said it in the beginning, but so many people don't make it this far, so you are head and shoulders above so many others. Thank you for being here. And so here's just a quick conclusion, I suppose, and homework for this module before you move on to the next one. And it's this. Number one, decide on what page you'll be driving traffic to. Okay, so in the next module, that's where we're going to get into the fun stuff. I'm actually going to start creating our video ads, right? Our YouTube ads. I'm going to take you through scripting processes. I'm going to show you how to put them together and keep it real simple. It's going to be an amazing module. You're going to absolutely love it. But before we do that, you need to know where it is you actually are driving traffic to, right? If you don't have a landing page, then you've got nowhere to drive that traffic to. So now, understanding your audience, I want you to go ahead and just decide where you're driving the traffic to. Make edits to that landing page in line with what I've taught you here today. So for most of you, I'm sure you already know what it is that you're promoting, right? You've already got your business, your website, your funnel, your sales process, whatever it is, you've got your landing page already. If you have, then go through and make edits based on what I've taught you here today. If you haven't, if you're coming to the end of this module and you're thinking, John, I don't even know what I want to promote, I have no idea, then I suggest you go to the bonus section in this members area, and you'll find a training called Creating Your Money Machine. And I'll give you a strategy over there. I'll teach you how to go from zero to hero. I'll show you how to go from having no idea what to sell or promote, maybe even having no idea of what industry to go into. And I'll show you how you can use affiliate marketing and start getting set up pretty quickly with something that's really feel good, that will pay you a good generous commission, and then you'll be able to build a landing page around that model. Okay, so go and check that out in the bonus section. And also, next thing is then go ahead and get a ClickFunnels account, right? If that's the one you want to use, that's the one I use, which is why I've offered you that bonus training called Attract and Convert. Okay, so if you want to grab a ClickFunnels account through my affiliate link, then I would love that. I'd appreciate that. We'll leave that link below. But by all means, don't feel like you need to. If you would prefer to just go and Google them and go through them, that's fine. Either way, I'd love to give you access to that Attract and Convert. So just email my team, send them an email and say, hey, I've signed up for an account through John's link to ClickFunnels. Can I please grab the Attract and Convert training? And they'll happily give you access to that. And if you don't go with the ClickFunnels, just make sure you've got some kind of landing page software, right? Be it Kartra, Lead Pages, or maybe some other software. It really doesn't matter. What matters is that you don't just go with some free website builder, but you are going with a good landing page software. Okay. Next is read Google and YouTube's ad guidelines. Please do this. Okay, it's a really important piece of homework. Before next week and before you go through the next module, there's a link below to the ad guidelines. Please just go through, read them extensively, just so you know it, right? And just for that peace of mind that you know all the things you should and shouldn't do. And finally, go ahead and write a killer headline for your landing page, right? Spend some time, write down those pain points and understand where your audience is at and the benefits of what you've got, and whatever your freebie is, okay, or whatever it is that you're offering in the landing page, and go ahead and write a killer headline for that landing page. Okay, and that's pretty much it. So well done for going through this module. Looking forward to seeing you in the next one. We're going to be diving deep into actually producing your video ads. So I'm excited. We're taking some ground here. We're building some momentum. This is great. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye. All right. Woo! We are done. Done. So how was that overall? I know I've asked you a ton of times, but if that was cool, just let me know. And also type in any questions you may have. If you've already asked a question, I won't have seen it in the chat box. So just come back now and repost a question or ask me one if you've got one. I've blocked out some time here to just hang out with you and answer any questions that you may have. Yeah, fire away. I want to make sure that every single one of your questions is answered. Like something is really important to me is that you don't feel kind of lost and you don't feel left behind in this process. So yeah, we're going to be here for you. And Aaron is on the line. And so if any question is good for Aaron, or to be honest, Aaron, if you see a question that you want to answer, just jump out, dude. That's absolutely fine. So I'm just going to start making my way down this list of questions. Oh, and also keep in mind, last week we had loads of questions that people thought that we were ignoring ignoring the questions. Just know that we're not ignoring your questions. There's so many questions coming in, so we're just going to take them from the top down. Okay, so please be patient. I promise you we'll get to every single question. It might just take a little bit. Okay. Oh, go go, sweetheart, I'm a lady, not a dude. I'm so sorry. Go, please forgive me. That's terrible. I'm so sorry. Madam, I'll call you madam. Sorry about that. David says, how much is ClickFunnels after the trial? It's $97 a month. $97 a month. Okay. Richard says, does ClickFunnels work with existing WordPress sites? No, it doesn't work with it. No, ClickFunnels is its own, setup, right? They host your pages, they create your pages, they help you design, like all that kind of stuff. It's a completely standalone software. Cool. Susan's excited that we've got through module 2. Yannick says, very good, awesome training, John. Very good, sweet. Ulf says it wouldn't be a problem to use Squarespace, which is my ordinary CMS for my landing pages. Would it? No, dude, if you've already got I'm not familiar with, I've heard of Squarespace, but I haven't used them or tried to play with them. So I haven't used them. But listen, if you've already got a software that creates you landing pages and you're good to go, then fine, start running with it. Yeah, that's absolutely no problem at all. Linda says, fabulous, always fabulous. Awesome. Awesome. You guys are fantastic. Thanks so much for the great feedback. And here's some questions. So, cool. Ulf says, general question. Would you say that YouTube ads work as well, if not better, than Facebook or Instagram ads, regardless of what you're promoting, right? For me, they do. Okay, and that's kind of just across the board, and I want to be really careful how I say that, because I don't want you to get the impression that I'm saying, screw Facebook and let's just focus on YouTube. You really need to diversify. So I highly suggest to my audience that you're using Facebook, and Instagram and YouTube, right? Be using all of those, try and master all those platforms, because then if something happens to one of them, you've still got traffic going on another one. But just, the truth of the matter is that YouTube is just cheaper than Facebook right now. We see it cheaper, on pretty much every outcome, right? Whether it's generating leads, getting clicks, retargeting, sales conversion, like it's cheaper, pretty much across the board for everything we do. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question. Deborah says, I'm laughing at how I've now seen how you moved me through your funnel. You said, love when a story comes together. Yeah, that's awesome, isn't it? It's nice when you kind of see, how it all plays out. Oh, Daryl says, what's the email address to get the attract and convert training? Great question. I'm going to put it in the chat box for you. It's support@frontlinemarketer.com. Okay, support@frontlinemarketer.com. Bing, there it is. Okay. Derek says, hey John, which of the 2 webinar ads work the best for you? Which webinar ads are you talking about? Which ones do you mean? And nonetheless, I'm going to give you loads of examples next week when we get into the video ads. Okay, so I'm going to give you loads of examples anyway. But which ones are you specifically talking about? And I'll try and answer that for you. Gold says, what if I'm sending traffic to a low-end sales page? That's fine. That's no trouble. So what you do is, if you're essentially then, Gold, you're just going direct to sales page, right? You're going from your YouTube ad and you're taking them straight to a sales page where they can purchase a low ticket item. So same thing applies, make sure it's compliant. Okay. Make sure that you're trying to do all the best practices there. make sure that you're trying to utilize as many of my 11 best practices from a conversion standpoint. You're just going to have more information on your page, but a lot of the same stuff applies. Try and have at least one of the call to actions above the fold. Have a good headline. Like all of that stuff still stands. But yes, you can just go straight from a YouTube ad to a sale if that's what you want to try. Miranda says, missed the start, but all since been great. Is it fine to run the ad straight to a basic sales page? Yes, 100%. So obviously, same thing applies to you as I was just talking to Gull about as well. Patrick says, do you recommend using ClickFunnels as your autoresponder? You can do. I personally don't, because to use ClickFunnels as the autoresponder, you've got to pay for their higher package, which I believe is maybe even $300 a month. So that's when it starts to get a little bit expensive, or quite expensive, to be honest. And you can get started with autoresponders that integrate with ClickFunnels very, very seamlessly, but they'll be much cheaper. So for starting out, I probably wouldn't recommend ClickFunnels as an autoresponder. I would just suggest using it as the funnel building software. Okay. David Wells says, do you advise getting the trial to ClickFunnels now or near to next week to keep the momentum next week within the 14-day trial? Totally up to you, man, because if you wait until you're kind of absolutely ready to go, then you've still got to now find your way around ClickFunnels and learn the software and all this and all that. And so if you start now, you're kind of getting ahead of that and you're starting to learn your way around, so that hopefully by the time you're ready to launch your ad, your landing page is ready to go as well and you fully understand the software. So the chances are you're probably going to want to stay with ClickFunnels. Like I would refrain from being in the mindset of like, I'm going to just try and do everything in 14 days to see if I want to keep it and cancel before 14 days. Obviously, I understand that, but the reality is, putting this whole thing together and getting your YouTube ads out there is going to take more than 14 days either way. So you're probably going to want to use ClickFunnels for at least a month. And so I would just to create that realistic benchmark, whatever software you're going to use as your landing page software, you're probably going to at least need to just pay for it for at least the first month. And that's going to give you a month and a half to really play around with it. So that's probably just a realistic way to look at it. I hope that makes sense. Ann Jackson says, so just clarifying that YouTube doesn't just look at our ad, but where our ad is linking to. Yes, 100%, Ann. So they're going to look at your ad, they're going to look at your video and see if they're happy with it, but they're also going to look at where you're linking that video to. Yes. Yannick says, question, what are your insights in regards to running a YouTube video ad to an editorial that drives to either form submit to an email lead or general straight up phone calls? I think it'd be awesome. I would love to see you do that. Okay, I think it can work well. We haven't tried that on YouTube yet, but we've done some of that on Facebook, where absolutely my business partner Jabril is running a ton of ads, directly to advertorials and articles and blog posts, and it's working really good, with the outcome of that being to then sign up as a lead. So I have no reason why it wouldn't work on YouTube. I just haven't got around to trying it, but absolutely, I think it will work really great. Richard says, so do I have to shut down my existing Hurley Piano site? No, you don't have to shut down any sites that you've got, right? If you've already got a website and a homepage, then great. A website is good for just having an online presence, but when it comes to running YouTube ads and and you're actually spending your hard-earned money to run that ad, you want to get the best bang for your buck, and the way that you do that is by having a sales funnel rather than a website. You see what I'm saying? So there's nothing wrong with having a website, right? It's a good place to just house your brand and have a presence online, but you wouldn't want to run traffic that you're paying for to that website, because that's not going to give you the best bang for your buck. You're going to want to put that into a sales funnel. Okay. Christopher says, how do you add those disclaimer links? Is this something that ClickFunnels helps you with? Yes, absolutely. ClickFunnels make it so simple, dude. You're going to be blown away. You know, like you literally you can design and put together and be ready to launch a landing page in no exaggeration in 10 minutes. Okay, you can pick one of their templates, you edit it, you're good to go, and then you can just slap those links at the bottom. It's completely kind of, you know, what you see is what you get. Like you're dragging the page around, and you know, the page is going to be online exactly as you're seeing it in the editor. So you can just add a link, no problem at all. And Christopher says, great session again today. You're very welcome. Yannick says, what are your thoughts, insights in regards to running a YouTube video ad to a quiz funnel? Again, absolutely, Yannick. You know, it's exactly the same answer. All of this stuff will work, and it'll work well, and it'd be really interesting to see the results for, you know, like it doesn't matter that it's a quiz funnel. That's kind of got nothing to do with it. If it's a good sales funnel and it's working for you in other areas, then absolutely run it on YouTube and see if it works, you know. And the only way to really tell is to run it anyway. So, but I think that'll work great. Oh, Derek says, John, did Facebook or YouTube campaigns work better for the webinar? They both work. They both do great. YouTube's just a little bit cheaper. So we still spend a ton of money on Facebook. Don't get me wrong. We spend a lot of money over there. And we will continue to spend a lot of money over there. But, you know, the fact of the matter is we're just getting cheaper webinar registrations from YouTube right now. Chase says, the first step, decide what page you'll be driving traffic to, is somewhat of a catch-22 for me. Is this the result of the pain points and desired outcomes? No, for you, Chase, it's essentially, I mean, what business or what page are you trying to drive traffic to? Presumably, you're wanting to build your email list, right? I'm not sure if you're still doing the network marketing stuff that I obviously knew you through a few years back, or if you're doing something else. But ultimately, that's not intended to kind of like trap you, and now you've got to think, man, what have I got to drive this to? I mean, essentially, this is just, what business are you trying to grow with your YouTube ads? You know, what is that page? What is that business? You know, it's more about making sure that the landing page that you're wanting to drive traffic to is compliant and is going to get the best results when it comes to conversion. You know, so for most of you know what business you're trying to build. You know what your entry point is, whether it's to sign up for a lead magnet or a webinar or a free video or a PDF or a consulting call, or, you know, there's so many different outcomes, isn't there? It's just about making sure that this is all in line with what I've taught you here today. Cool. You said, okay, good stuff. All right. Susan says, good training as usual, John. Thanks. You're very welcome. Derek says, notice that the shirt and jacket was on for the webinar ad. Was this deliberate to target a particular type of audience? Kind of and kind of not. I started wearing a shirt and jacket, and my team just said that I should do it more often because it looks good. So I said, okay, fine. So I put it back on to shoot these ads. But I think, you know, indirectly, I think it helps attract, you know, a higher quality of audience potentially. But there wasn't really any you know, particular reason for doing it, other than I usually just wear t-shirts, and my team were like, hey, you should probably wear a jacket more often, it looks better in the videos. So that's why I did it. Cool. So Deborah says, John, sell me a handbag using pain points and desired outcomes, please. So yeah, let's just brainstorm, Deborah. Let's talk through some ideas. Like, you know, if we're looking at a handbag and we're deciding like what are the pain points, desired outcomes, let's think this through. Pain point, maybe firstly, look and feel, right? Maybe there's a pain point surrounding you know, the perfect size of a handbag. Like, you know, you can start addressing your market in that way, where you can talk about the fact that, you know, there hasn't really been up until this point the perfect size for a handbag. It's either slightly too big and bulky, or it's a clutch bag and it's too small, and this, that, and the other. Or maybe a pain point is that it provides a lot of weight on the shoulder, so it's not very supportive because it's you know, pulling down on your shoulder. Maybe you know, the compartments on the inside are not very well organized, so there's loads of different zips and they're trying to create compartments, but it's not very organized, so you end up losing all your stuff in that big little abyss in your home, you know, in your handbag. So that's where my mind goes. I'm going down that track. And then the desired outcomes is probably, you want to make other women jealous of this bag, like, that's a desired outcome. You want to turn heads from all your friends, like, man, that's an amazing bag. You want to, a desired outcome would be that it would feel light on your shoulder and it wouldn't cause any discomfort. That, the way it's designed and the way that the pockets are is perfect for all your, easy to grab things that you need on a daily basis, rather than having to dig through a bunch of stuff. It's all organized nicely. The size is perfect. It fits underneath without rubbing on your arm. So all of that kind of stuff is a selling point, isn't it? Maybe the price, cheap bag, but high quality for a cheap price. So all of that kind of stuff comes to mind. Hopefully that's giving you some ideas. Stuart says, as I have access to a sales page but a crappy landing page, could I use an Aweber form as a landing page, or is Aweber too basic? No, you wouldn't want to use Aweber form as a landing page. If I'm honest, Stuart, Aweber will allow you to create what's called a web form, but that's not going to be sufficient as a landing page. Like, you can kind of think about these software tools like ClickFunnels and Lead Pages and Kartra. They're essentially like glorified web forms. Like they're that name and email field, but you can build a beautiful big page around it. Okay, that's kind of the way to think about it. But I will tell you that Aweber is going to be too basic to use as a landing page software. It'll do great as an autoresponder, but just not as a landing page software. Okay. Cool. Deborah says, brilliant. Good example. Seen the picture. Cool. All right. Derek says, what happens if you do infringe YouTube's rules accidentally, or then, blackboard? That doesn't really happen. YouTube's pretty good on this. They're not. They're pretty cool. Like, they're not as strict as Facebook, in that if you have an ad disapproved, you're at risk of shutting your account down and you're living in fear. YouTube's pretty good. They'll just say, look, we've disapproved this ad, and they'll even let you phone them, right? You can even call them up on the phone, and they'll even just talk you through it. I mean, this might even be a good opportunity to have Aaron share. If you're there, Aaron, if you just want to unmute yourself, maybe you just want to just share real quick about your experience, what your experience has been when, if a YouTuber has disapproved one of our ads, how helpful have they been, and all that kind of stuff. And maybe just share a little bit about that if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, sure. Can you hear me?
Yep, loud and clear.
Hey, hello everyone. So yeah, basically, when we've had ads that have been shut down, like the next day, I've just got a message or an email from Google, and a Google rep has just said, "Hey, look, this is the reason that your ad's been shut down, but I'm more than happy to help you, and let's work together to get your ad approved." So I've just discussed a load of stuff with them. They're very good with their email support. They've got back to me super quickly. I've just asked them a few things like, "Oh, is this the reason why it might have been disapproved?" As well as the stuff that they've suggested to me. And they've kind of just been like, yep, this is the reason, and this is how you can change it. Let's work together. And within a few days, I've had my ads back up and running, and it's been great.
Cool, man. That's helpful, man. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah, so it's kind of like that. They're pretty helpful when it comes to that stuff. Cool. David says cool. Derek says, oh, sorry, John, I should have been more clear. I meant the split test that you did for the webinar with the shirt and the jacket on. If I'm totally honest with you, Derek, that was a long time ago. I can't actually remember the results of that. I wish I could, but I don't want to make up any numbers, so I don't actually remember the results from that particular split test. Cool. Paul says, can we promote Tube Ads Academy, and how about putting us up a share funnel so we can advertise it using your knowledge? We're going to do exactly that, although we're not going to give you a share funnel. We're going to build out an affiliate webinar funnel and allow you to promote that. So that's going to be available to you as an affiliate pool. So firstly, thanks for your interest in wanting to promote us, and secondly, we'll more than accommodate or do our best to accommodate any help that you might need. Linda says, I'm in attraction marketing, multi-level marketing, and the landing page is made for me. Would there be any other benefit for me to get ClickFunnels? Would you recommend having multiple funnels to the same end or not? Linda, actually, this is a really important thing that you've just raised, and I'm really pleased you've asked it. If your company, if your MLM company is giving you a landing page to use, that is actually more reason to have a ClickFunnels and build your own, because you've got to be unique, you've got to stand out. You actually don't want to use company pages. It's one of the worst things that you can do. Same goes for on Facebook or Instagram, and the same here with YouTube. You've got to be using your own page so that it's unique. It's only you that's using that page. And also, if you're just being given a page by your company, you have no control over editing that page to make it compliant for YouTube ads in ways that you think maybe it's currently not. You can't change the headline on it. You've just got to go with what they've given you. So, you're out of control there. So more reason to actually build your own. So Alex has asked a good question. You said, how do you split test different capture pages if the URL of the ad must match the destination? Because it's only the actual root domain that needs to match, right? So to give you an example, let's say you had, alexzubrev.com, right? And that was your domain name, but you had two split tests set up. So you had alexzubrev.com/page 1 and alexzubrev.com/page 2, right? And you ran that split test. Your display URL would be alexzubrev.com. That would be your destination URL. Your display URL would just be the root domain, alexzubrev.com. And if that's redirected to your page, which then ends up being alexzubrev.com/page 1, that would be absolutely fine because the root domain matches. Does that make sense? Let me know if that makes sense, dude. And then and just so we know we're good. Deborah says, when you say not directly to a website, is it okay running to a specific product on that site? Yeah, that would be fine. When I'm referring to not running it to a website, I'm essentially just saying, don't just have, one website that's not got any clear direct call to actions and just a bunch of links and a bunch of stuff going on. And, if a visitor would land on your website and be confused as to what to do next, if there's not a clear next step, then that's when you don't want to use a website. But if you're going to a page on your website that sells a specific product, and then the call to action is clear because you're telling them to purchase the product, that's the next step, then that would be fine. Dan says, for a total newbie starting from the beginning, what type of niches at ClickBank would you suggest? There's three things that are never going to die, dude. They're just going to keep replenishing themselves. And it's health, wealth, and happiness. And happiness covers relationships too. So anything that comes under health, right? People are always wanting to improve their health, get fit, lose weight. Like that's never that industry is just never going to die, right? Even if people achieve their fitness goals, then more people have come online searching for ways to solve their fitness problems. So it's always going to replenish itself. Same with wealth. People are always looking to make more money, get promotions, get nice things. Like that's always going to be something people are after. And then happiness and relationships, that's just something that people always want. They want that feel good, they want to be happy, they want good relationships. So something within those top three categories is a really good place to start. Patrick says, I recently saw a YouTube ad that linked directly to an affiliate video sales letter. This would not fly on Facebook. Is this okay on YouTube? I would highly not suggest that, right? Strongly suggest against that, right? That's not going to be a good idea. It's that thing that I said to you. If you wouldn't do it on Facebook, don't do it on YouTube. Even if YouTube would allow you to do that, they might not allow you to do it for very long, and it's just not the best. It's just not the best, result anyway. Why would you want to go straight from a YouTube ad to an affiliate page that you have no control over? You haven't built an audience, you haven't built an email list, you're not able to put your pixel on that page or your Google tag, and do any kind of tracking. You can't do anything. You completely lose control. So I just wouldn't suggest that, Patrick. All right. Okay, bear with me. I've just lost where I was. Oh, here we go. Cool. Cool. Christopher says, thanks, John. See you next week. See you, Christopher. Have a good rest of your day. Deborah said, okay, cool. That was in relation to the handbags. Chase says, are funded proposals the best to lead up front before a higher price product? Yeah, that's a really good idea. Funded proposals work well. I know Frank Kern's big on that. Yeah, if you've done it right, I mean, that'll be great. I mean, yeah, all good. Alex says, does shadow banning exist on Google Ads or YouTube? No, I haven't heard about shadow banning on YouTube. It's not so much a thing over here. Miranda says, hi. Hello. Derek says, brilliant. That's incredibly helpful, John and Aaron. Thanks. Cool. Looking forward to next week, says Valerie. Great advice, John, says Deborah. Linda says, I'm so glad you told me that. I do have the ability to suggest headlines. Okay, cool. But yeah, please still build your own pages. Be much better. Alex says, yep, that makes sense about the URL. Barbara says, I'm sending email to your support to get signed up as an affiliate. Awesome. Fantastic. You can also find a link to that in the members area. So you better find that there as well, Barbara. Cool. Derek says, John, guys like you and Russell Brunson and Frank Kern have track records. Any tips on how to leverage off other people's track records? Well, here's my biggest piece of advice, Derek. Here's what you need to understand. When I run my YouTube ads, I'm going out to a cold audience. The reason why I have a track record and why I have a huge following is because I go out there to completely cold traffic who have no idea who I am. And then I indoctrinate them, I provide some value, and then suddenly they're a part of my community, right? And now they like my stuff. So it's kind of like this, I don't know, people have this common misconception that, YouTube ads and Facebook ads work better for people like me and Russell and Frank because we've got an audience. But actually we don't utilize the audience, we don't utilize the fame when we're going out with our ads. You see what I'm saying? Like, I go out there and I'm just John. No one's ever heard of me because I'm targeting brand new audiences. And so it's just the same as you, Derek, going out there and running ads to people who don't know you. As long as you do a good job in the YouTube ad, you do a good job in the sales funnel, then they're going to come through and they're going to love you and they're going to be a part of your audience. And that's, I didn't start with a track record, you know what I mean? So you have to start somewhere. And so ads work just as well without a track record. That's more for the long-term benefit. The short-term benefit with running an ad, you don't need any of that stuff. So cool. And you said, great, thanks. You're welcome. Paul says, is YouTube ads good for CPA marketing? Absolutely. I'd highly suggest you still go through my how to create a money machine bonus training, because that's going to be really helpful for in terms of building a custom wrapper around the CPA offer and network that you're promoting. But yeah, it does work for sure. Absolutely. Deborah says, thanks, John, for always adding value. Great teachings. Awesome. Thanks, Deborah. Appreciate you. That's awesome. And Deborah just kind of backs up what I was saying. They said, I was cold, and then I love what you said. You delivered, and I kept buying because you were true to your word. Thank you, Deborah. I really appreciate that. Cool. Alex, I see your comment, man. I pass Hangouts. I remember that. In my big coat. Barbara says, in the membership site, where is the link to sign up as an affiliate? Oh, I'll show you quick, shall I? So if I've got to turn my screen off for a minute as I log in. Oh, okay. You've said never mind, found it, but I'll just show you anyway in case anyone else wants to see it. So turn the screen back on here. So when you're into the members area like this, just go over here to bonuses, okay, and then go down to affiliate program. Okay, bonuses, affiliate program, and you'll be able to see that here. And the sign up to become an affiliate is here. Okay, so that is all there for you. Okay, very cool. All right. And Jackson says, really looking forward to next week. Thanks a lot. You're very welcome. Cool. So Linda says, is it appropriate to ask a question about branding as it affects how we build a page? Yeah, that's absolutely fine. And then your question is, in attraction marketing, we are branding ourselves, but my last name is so ridiculously difficult for most people. Should I or could I simplify? Yeah, absolutely. I think about this, right, Linda? The perfect example comes to mind of Gary Vaynerchuk, right? He knew that when he goes out to the masses, most people aren't going to know how to spell Vaynerchuk, you know? So he abbreviated his name to Gary V, you know? So you can absolutely abbreviate it. I understand the attraction marketing world, so I know how important the personal brand is there. So yeah, I would do something like that. I mean, think about me, John Pemberthy too. Pemberthy is not really the easiest name to say or know how to spell, but yeah. But so abbreviating is absolutely fine. You said nice, thank you. Cool, awesome. All right, nice. And Barbara says, I'd like to set up an interview with you, please, John. That's gonna be very difficult to arrange at the minute. I'm running around like a headless chicken with all kinds of things, but we'll see if we can do something like that later on down the track. Deborah says, thanks, John and team. Got to go. Loving this. See you next week. That's awesome, Deborah. You're welcome. And actually, that brings us to the end of the Q&A too. And we're pretty much approaching 3 hours, which is amazing. Funnily enough, I was meeting with one of my Platinum Group coaching students earlier, Stuart. I'm not sure if he's still on the line. He said, how long do you think the coaching call is going to be this week? And I said to him over breakfast this morning, I said, it'll be about 3 hours. And we've pretty much hit the nail on the head with that guesstimation. And so anyway, we're going to call it a day there then. Thank you so much for joining me on this week 2. Again, I'm really excited for this journey. Thanks for sticking with it. If you really truly stick with me for the next, what's going to be next 5 weeks now, 7 weeks total, you are going to have learned and mastered a skill set that many would just be salivating over the thought of finally being able to master this thing. You're in a really good position, so stick with it. If you hit any hurdles, okay, if you hit any difficulties, don't feel alone. Don't stay where you are. Come into the Facebook group, post a question, okay. Myself, Aaron, or our team will get in touch with you, and we'll keep you moving forward, okay. So stick with the process, stick with what we're doing, because what's the benefit in dropping off? You're going to go back to where you were, right? So stick with what we're doing, because you're about to learn something really, really cool as we move through here, and hopefully you've learned some pretty cool stuff already. So appreciate you all so much, and I will see you in the Facebook group, and I'll also see you on the call next week, which is at a slightly different time to accommodate for some of you the other side of the world. And so if you missed that one, then obviously the recording will always be available for you, and I'll see you in the Facebook group. And also the recording of this one, by the way, will be up in the members area by tomorrow, and next week we'll start chopping these up into individual lessons to make them a bit easier for you to navigate. So appreciate you all. Thank you so much. I'm going to go rest my voice for a little bit, and then I'll see you in the Facebook group shortly. Take care. Bye-bye.